has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
So I can assure you, the injustice that you have suffered, eventually you are going to vote. You are going to have a member of parliament. The next NDC government is going to pay attention to this Guan District. So that we can improve the infrastructure here, especially the roads. We will work on the roads so that it's easy for vehicles to come and cart the agricultural products that you've been producing here out to the markets. But aside from that, we have a special program that we call the agro-industrial processing zones. We're going to consider Guan District as one of the special districts that we concentrate on. We're going to create an agro-industrial zone. We're going to encourage the private sector, with support from government, to set up a factory here to buy all the ginger that you produce and process it for the market. We'll set up a factory here, another one, to buy and produce and process all the rice that you produce in this district. And we're going to set up a factory here to buy and process all the cassava that you are producing here. We're going to target this district to become the leading producer of ginger, rice, and cassava. But aside from that, we're going to support you, those who have the land, to put some of that land under more cocoa production. So we'll give you the support to set up cocoa farms. We'll get the extension officers to help you until the cocoa grows. We'll come and buy the cocoa from you so that you can get money and put into your pockets. We're also going to encourage the growing of oil palm. So those of you who have land and want to do oil palm, we'll give you the seedlings, you will plant it, we'll give you the technical advice how to do your farm so that you can begin to benefit from it. So there's a lot of good news for those who are in agriculture. In addition, we're going to come and open, you've heard me talk about the farmers' service centers. We're going to open a service center here in Guan District. We will have 15 tractors with plows, harrows, planters, everything that you need. Combine harvesters. We're going to bring combined harvesters so that you can harvest your rice easily. We're going to bring planters, we'll bring fertilizer, we'll bring weedicides, everything that you need for agriculture will be at the Farmers Service Center. For the young people who don't want to go into agriculture but are interested in other businesses, we are prepared to help you. If you want to become a baker, we'll help you to set up your bakery. We'll give you the ovens, we'll give you the flour, we'll give you the capital so that you can start baking bread, meat pie.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
Good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, this morning. Of course, we are live from the studio, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Studios, to be precise, of Pan-African Television. We are live on Pan-African Television. We are live on the social media handles on Facebook, Pan-African Television, and on YouTube, Pan-African Television. We're also live on Radio Gold. I am Senna Nombo. Well, this morning, it's a discussion that never ends. We are back to the issue in Parliament because this week, the Speaker actually held a press conference to speak to some of the issues. And the very declaration he made was that there is no constitutional crisis. We'll talk about the Speaker's press conference together with the matter of Parliament's recall. More than 15% of MPs on the MPP side submitted a motion, and the Speaker was mandated to recalled Parliament on the day that was last Thursday. The NDC side was seated. We're waiting for the MPP side. They never turned up. The Speaker did the same thing he did the last time. We have the numbers to do business, but we do not have the numbers to make a decision. So adjourn the sitting indefinitely. Well, later, press conferences were held where people said, one, they were waiting for the Speaker to declare that they were the majority and that the NDC should move to their left, and then they will come and occupy the right. Somebody also said, oh, we're in a meeting for too long. And by the time we realized the Speaker had already adjourned sitting, that, oh, we should have informed the Speaker, or the Speaker should have known. So there are many narrations of exactly what happened. We'll be talking about those two issues in one as we talk about what is transpiring in our Parliament. And then we'll move on to the matter of a peace pact. We're asking a question: would a peace pact guarantee peaceful elections in December? That's our second topic for discussion. And then we'll talk about inflation. Edged up slightly, now 22.1%. That's for the CD, and the dollar exchange rate is another matter. We'll put those two together and what it means for the economy. Those are the issues we're discussing today on the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. A big thank you to the affiliate stations that are currently tuning to us. And of course, if you join us on any of them, do comment, share a comment or two. I'll read it as we go along in the show. Joining me this morning for the discussion, let me start with Kwame Kwesi Jr., who is General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. And of course, Mr. Solomon Owusu is a member of the Movement for Change. Nice to see him this morning. And then for the very first time on this show, I'm sure if you follow this network regularly, Pan-African Television, you know his face quite well. But the very first time he's appearing on the show, Adam Sabo Abdul Rahman is MPP Greater Accra Regional Communications Director. Good morning to you. And finally, nice to meet you.
Happy actually coming to your program. And then it's been a long time that I have sat side by side with my elder brother like this. If I can remember, I think somewhere about 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I think I think it was yourself and then that fair man from NDC, the elderly man.
Well, nice to see you. And of course, we're waiting for Dr. Clement Park, who will join us. He is MP for Bosa South constituency. That's our panel for today to discuss the issues. We have to start from the matter of the Speaker saying there's no constitutional crisis, but Parliament was recalled at a very expensive cost, and he had to adjourn again. Well, I'll start from the right with Mr. Solomon Owusu on this. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Mr. Nombo. I hope the family is doing well. And good morning to Mr. Pratt. It's been a long time that we sat in this beautiful studio. So I'm very happy to see him by my side for us to see whether or not we have constitutional crisis, and to Sabu, who is here to represent the New Patriotic Party. Let me start off by expressing our thanksgiving to the people of the Northern Region who are receiving the next president of the land, Mr. Alhaji, with full arms. I'm very surprised with the levels of welcoming that is taking place in the Northern Region. I mean, the love is so deep. We are very grateful to those in Gushegu, to those in Mion, Sanaregu, Tamale. We know that Allah will surely win to develop the Northern Region. And to those that have been given money by the New Patriotic Party in the North, that they should go and hoot at Mr. Alhaji, as we were told by supporters in Mion and Gushegu yesterday, that they were actually given money to come and hoot at him. But when they saw his face, they realized that he was too noble for such effort to befell on him. We are very grateful. I want to warn the New Patriotic Party that they must not start something that they cannot end, and that we remain resolute, focused, unwavering, unshaken, and that nothing will stop the victory that is on its way. So kudos to all of you. And to all the Movement for Change members, I say the key word is focus. Just be focused. Don't let anybody or any pools, political entrepreneurs that sit behind their desktops, manipulate figures, conjure figures from heaven to deceive you. It's all part of the stomach game that has pleated our political space. There is nothing serious about it, and that we are winning. Parliament, constitutional crisis. Senator, where we are now is, or at best can be described as the dishonest, the lack of integrity, the academic dishonest professionals that we have in this country that has led us to where we are. Other than that, there is nothing to discuss. There is no problem, except that people are trying to force a problem onto us. When we say constitutional crisis, what it simply means is that the laws that are contained in our constitution is unable to deal with a specific matter, for which reason we have a problem. What law or what provision in our constitution is not enough to deal with what we are discussing today? There is none. We are talking about a so-called problem, which is not a problem, that you and I know what it is. And here I'm talking about declaration of a vacant seat. My own people, my former party people, they are so dishonest. The New Patriotic Party, so dishonest, that your own Article 391, which talks about forfeiture of membership, that when you are a supporter or a sympathizer of the party, and the party presents a candidate, be it at the parliamentary level or at the presidential level, and you decide to throw your weight behind any other candidate apart from your candidate, automatically, in fact, that is the word that has been used in the MPP's constitution, you forfeit your membership. It's not as if the party will even call you into a meeting to find out why. It's just automatic. You must know that you are no more a member of the MPP. And by virtue of that provision, that is why on the 25th of September 2023 at 2:30 p.m., when Mr. Alhaji declared that he was going as an independent candidate, and I concurred, immediately my membership of the MPP came to an end. I didn't need the General Secretary of the party to write to me. I didn't need the national chairman. Neither did I need anybody, my constituency chairman, to write to me. I knew I was no more a member of the MPP. And in fact, November of that year, the General Secretary boldly came out and said he was even surprised that people were still linking the lives of Ohininto Hobson Adoye, Yabwabia Samoa, Boniface Abubakar, still to the MPP, because so far as he was concerned, it was automatic. There were no more members of the New Patriotic Party. You go back further. What happened to Isaac Esiama, Andrew Esiama, the MP for Fomna? When he decided to go as an independent candidate, the party only wrote to Parliament because they wanted to have it on record that this man was no more a member of our party, and by virtue of Article 97 and by virtue of our party's constitution, Article 391, the seat that he was occupying must be declared vacant. Speaker Michael Kwe concurred, and they declared it vacant. So, Senator, this is what we are dealing with. In 2020, we did not hear the Harvard lawyers, the Yalean lawyers, the Oxfordians, the University of Ghana lawyers, the Supreme Court judges, some of whom were lawyers at that time, cough about this matter. Because as we speak, that Article 391 of the MPP's constitution, nobody, not even including the MPP, has submitted an official position on it that it is void if it is not in line with the provisions in our 1992 constitution. And remember, when the law is inconsistent with our constitution, to the extent of the inconsistency, that provision becomes null and void. The NPP has not said so. So there is clarity. There is nothing unambiguous about the provisions in the NPP's constitution and that of Article 97 H and G. And it was on the basis of that that Speaker Michael Kwe declared this seat, from that seat, vacant. Now, that's why I started by telling you that we have dishonest people. Reverend Professor Michael Kwe, emphasis mine, his name is what? Reverend. Professor. The same person that gave the ruling in Parliament November 2020, Reverend was interviewed on Joy FM. The same issue presented to him, say, oh, no. He hopes Speaker Bagby does not toe his line. It's not good at all. There are differences in this matter. And that unless or until the New Patriotic Party rise to hear Bagby, they are still members of the party. Hey! So clearly, the dishonest levels, the intellectual dishonesty that is playing our elderly statement is what is at play today. Look, I agree 100% with Speaker Bagby. In fact, the only problem that I had with Speaker Bagby was his own problem he created at the beginning of this parliament, where he decided to make the New Patriotic Party the majority party. Senator, you have done a party group, majority group. There's still, whether group or whether Kenya went to Kenya or came back, it's still the majority. Senator, you have done a bit of mathematics, is that not the case? I have never heard anywhere, unless today they have changed the syllables, that 137 is greater than 137, or 137 is less than 137, or 137 is equal to 137. These are possible questions if you are asked in WASI or BEC or any university exam. Which one would you choose? Is 137 not equal to 137? So on what basis did Speaker Bagby come to that conclusion that they needed to be a majority group, as Honorable wants us to believe? I believe that the Speaker was only acting based on common sense, because he realized that, look, when he had got into it, was a novelty. We had not had the experience of having a hung parliament, and so he needed, government business needed to go move forward to save all of us. So in that regard, we needed to agree temporarily. And I believe that, I don't know for now whether Parliament itself, through their standing orders, have put in place certain things to checkmate this. Because, you see, it's going to happen the way our politics is going, we are going to experience a lot of these things. And unless and until we think into the future, we are likely to have certain scenarios that may make this country ungovernable. So Speaker did that. Because if you are going to enforce the laws or the provisions in our constitution, the moment Speaker linked a CMA to the MPP, clearly it means he had crossed carpet or he had vacated his seat, and that formula seat needed to be declared vacant. And also, a CMA couldn't have become the second deputy speaker, as is enshrined in Article 96B or so, that you cannot have the first and deputy speakers coming from the same political party. So all of us as a country decided to put on with that anomaly. It was an illegality, but for the sake of the country moving forward, and to also give Parliament that laxity to also correct some of these things, that is why we all moved on. Lo and behold, a similar situation happens today, 2024, that people have decided to go as independent candidates, leaving the parties on whose ticket they went to Parliament to go and contest as independent candidates. The same situation, same circumstances, same facts. In this case, the character that was involved in the 2020 is also involved. The matter is moved in Parliament, Senator, and the same people that initiated in 2020 say, oh no, it is not like that. We were born in Buckingham Palace and understand the English language more than anybody. It doesn't mean that. If you people didn't realize we made a mistake yesterday, we are telling you today. And that we are going to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to direct Parliament as to what to do. But here, let me also blame the NDC party. I don't think they are strategic enough. On what was the business of the former minority leader going on a campaign platform to even go and announce to the world that they were going to move a motion to remove 4 MPs? What was the business? You have gone into a caucus meeting. You have taken a decision that this is what we are going to do. You were telling me to do what? But for that pronouncement, Afenyo himself couldn't have gone to the Supreme Court, because how were you going to go to Supreme Court that, when I slept, I dreamt that the NDC would be moving this motion, so I am taking the lead at the Supreme Court to file a motion. So clearly something wasn't adding up. But be that as may, the man went to Supreme Court for interpretation of Article 97. So I decided to go and buy, you see it's fresh, the 1992 Constitution. When I went to the bookshop, I was thinking they would demand my law certificate before they sell this Constitution to me. Because the way and manner people are behaving in this country, it is as though you will need a law certificate to understand simple English. With your permission, let's go to Article 97 and see whether or not it is something that the Supreme Court has to interpret for you and I to understand. The H and the J, or the J and the H. Article 97, 1, the J. So if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party, or seeks to remain in Parliament as an independent member. So now, which of this provision don't you understand? The H. If he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party. Look, to further be assured that what Speaker Bagwin did was right, the NPP itself, in the Formina constituency, why do you think they decided to hold on to their primaries? Having done or undertaken all the primaries in all the other constituencies in January. Because they knew that if they had done that in January and the CMR had contested clearly that seat would have to be declared as a vacant seat for a fresh election to be conducted, which they are not sure whether or not they win. And so they had to wait till the time the EC opened nomination. As we speak, on record, Esiama is a member of the New Patriotic Party who is going to contest on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. I don't see how anybody can contest on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party when the person is not a member of the party. Now, fast forward. Afenyo goes to Supreme Court. Supreme Court gives its orders that it has to be stayed. The ruling of the Speaker has to be stayed. So, you need the Speaker to make a pronouncement on the subject matter. When Speaker recalled Parliament the first time, it was the same NPP members that decided not to go to the chamber, for which reason the Speaker said, look, we had a quorum to do business, but we did not have a quorum to take decisions. So what is the point in sitting in Parliament House when you cannot take any decision? So he adjourned proceedings Senator. Indefinite. Now the same constitution allows members of Parliament to also, if they are 15%, to recall Parliament, and Speaker will be obliged to do so. NPP members did so, and Speaker had to follow the constitution, so he recalled Parliament. So where lies the constitutional crisis? The Speaker is operating within the constitution. Yet again, Speaker recalls Parliament, and those that insisted that Parliament be recalled said they were in a meeting for almost 2 hours. They were chilling, drinking mulatto, drinking Milo, cheese, all sort of things. 2 hours. They won't even go to the chamber. One Speaker went there, saw the numbers, and realized that they couldn't do anything meaningful. He then again adjourned proceedings indefinite. Immediately he did that, they surfaced that, oh, we were in our rooms, we were in our cubicles, we were having a meeting, and that Speaker should have been there for like 5 hours. And that why didn't Speaker make the ruling that the NDC side should sit at the left place for them to come and sit at the right side? And that is why they did not attend. Mind you, this current crop of leaders of the MPP, I don't know where they came from. They don't resemble people that have gone through the mill in the MPP. So shallow, so weak, arrogant. The more reason why the people of this country gave us 137 was the fact that the NPP and the NDC have been arguing that they all want to develop this country to the levels that all of us want. And so the Ghanaians sat back and said, well, if all of you are preaching that you want to develop this country to its full potential, then we are giving you an even number. Go to Parliament and build consensus so that we will move forward. This is the sort of consensus that they have given to us. Instead of going to the chamber to, as it were, push the Speaker into a corner where he will make a determination, we will see whether or not he will respect the decision of the Supreme Court. They decided not to do so and sit in the comfort of their homes. When in fact, when Parliament is recalled, it is you and I's taxes that are used to fuel their vehicles and other expenses. They did not do so. But you see, Senna, what does this teach us as a country? And this is where I want to draw the attention of the voting population in this country. That, look, if you are still going to vote in the way and manner you have been doing in the last 32 years, putting your trust in these two political parties, you are not going to get anywhere. The election 2024 must lead us into that determination or conclusion on a candidate who is a level-headed person. We have a president occupying the Jubilee House whose interest is only about himself and his few cabal. So all programs and policies that he sends to Parliament are programs and policies that will benefit him and his circle. Is it not interesting that this urgent recall of Parliament, the issues that were to be tabled for discussions included, what's the name? Tax freebies to themselves. Mind you, those companies that they have sent to Parliament is not for any foreign, it is for themselves. Tax exemptions. You know why would Katie Hammond be furious with adjournment of what's the name? Parliament proceedings? Because he's the Minister of Trade and Industry. They want to just go and give these tax exemptions so that they will pass back and go and take and enrich themselves. IES running into hundreds of millions of dollars while we are running around looking for loans, sometimes less than what they want us to give as freebies. So clearly, it is selfish interest that is playing. In this last hour, they want to push items through that will sustain them when they are in opposition. I hear that they also want, as a matter of urgency, to pass a law that will establish JB Dankwa University or whatever. For what? And you see, Parliament passed the LGBTQ, or what is it, the proper human value bill, is that not the case? And sent it to the president of the land. Someone went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court of the land has not been called about it. The president said he was not going to touch it, just because there was a certain lady called Kamala Harris who had visited this country and warned these adults. This woman was able to fly all the way from the United States of America, come to Ghana and warn two adults, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and President Akufo-Addo, that if you dare sign this document, we will be done with you. So they decided to shield it. That is not a concern to the people of this country, neither is it a concern to the president. That Parliament, that is representing all of us, decided to settle on the matter, and they are not interested. And that is why you will need that level-headed president who will be sending good bills, good deals to Parliament that will benefit all of us. In election 2024, my candidate, Alan Tremanti, is telling you that make him the president. So that developmental bills, policies, programs, as contained in the Great Transformation Plan, will be sent to Parliament. But I can assure you that in the Parliament of 2025, or in our governance structure, there will be an independent candidate as president. I'm sure the NDC will be the majority party in Parliament, NPP will be the minority party, so that we will build that consensus in moving the country forward. So it is much ado about nothing. There is no constitutional crisis. And I believe that the Chief Justice, the pronouncement he made after his ruling was unnecessary, was uncalled for, that we were in the constitutional crisis, when in fact the matter that was before her had nothing to do with constitutional crisis, and that the New Patriotic Party led by Afenyo Marcus, who himself took the matter to court, was the one creating more problems for this country. That the party, the MPs are not ready to work. They are only wasting our time because they know they don't have any serious or urgent matter to discuss. And I believe that the Speaker must stand on his feet and not allow anybody to take us for a ride. We are not ready for that. We are not ready for these tricks. We have had one too many of this parliament, a parliament that was supposed to checkmate. And this must also be an eye-opener. Because when the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice was ruling, one of the, as it were, in a matter that Tadio Story was calling on Jau, is it Gau? Justice Gau, to recuse himself from the bench. You heard what the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice said? That this judge passed through parliamentary vetting. Some of us sent petitions to Parliament that Ken Ofori-Atta must not be passed. They gave him an overwhelming endorsement. Hey, Dr. Park, you gave Ken Ofori-Atta that the entire country was yearning for him to be sacked. So, next time when you have justices passing through your hands, now I know there are two. you have to open your eyes, shine your eyes. Okay. Let the interest of the country be in your bosom in determining whether or not they should go through. It's not about friends matter. Okay. It's about the interest of this country. And when we are done in that way, we will not have what we call constitutional crisis. There's nothing like constitutional crisis. We are living in peace, and that Ghana will rise and continue to rise. I end my submission.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Solomon also is from the Movement for Change. A few comments from Facebook before we continue. I'll go to Dr. Clementa Park next, because I realized when Mr. Solomon also was saying, when have they been able to put in their new standing orders, things that will easily resolve the situation? You were shaking your head in disagreement. But I'll come to you shortly. Baseman Edu says the simple truth about this parliament matter is that the MPP are a bunch of hypocrites and dishonest people. Would they have done this if they had a clear majority? Kofi Simon says, in fact, this tussle has derailed activities in parliament for reasons best known to Akufo-Addo and the Supreme Court judges. Real Ghana also says the court has no business issuing an injunction on the forwarding of the bill to the presidency for signature. The court should have followed the laws of the land and entertained a lawsuit only after the president has decided to either sign the bill into law or refuse to sign it with an explanation. Those justices know the law and the procedures, but have chosen to be political justices serving and protecting, instead of upholding the laws of the land. Parliament has the authority to forward bills that have been passed by it to the presidency for the president to act on. Those are a few comments that have been shared with us on Facebook. Before I go to Dr. Clementa Park, let me acknowledge that we are live also on Hills FM in Adaklo 91.7, Nuwasi Radio in Ketekrachi on 89.7, Sela Radio Dabala on 97.1, Diamond FM Tamale 93.7. We are also live on Gbewa Radio in Yendi 106.5, Radio Kitahon Saboba 95.7. We are also live on Benya FM Elmina 105.7, Global FM 105.1 Iho, Volta 1 TV. We are also live on Zeps FM 95.9 in Zabila, True FM 92.5 in Adesu, Lamara FM 89.1 in Tripoli, there's Boem 88.7 FM in Jaskan, Lukusi 96.1 in Vergolokwati, Tyne FM is on 90.9, Sekpala FM 104.3, Akpini Radio in Pando, Denigba Radio 90.9. Doc.
So now let me say a good morning to you and to my co-panelists. Especially my senior, Master Kwesi Pratt. I bring you greetings from Bulsa. If not for this useless and needless recall, I clearly wouldn't be here. But I believe everything happens for a reason. My old man, your old friend, Mr. John Azundem, is definitely watching. And he never fails to give me the history of your interactions with your other now former good friend, the late Honorius, Dr. Query. Sana, there is no constitutional crisis in this Republic of Ghana. We are faced with a situation where an over-pampered group, in this case the MPP, knowing fully well that some institutions of state and some creatures created by the Constitution have developed, whether through coercion or intimidation, a soft spot to tolerate their shenanigans. It's as simple as that. Look, I have come to the conclusion that the MPP under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Bawumia has come to believe that it can play God. They believe they can do everything, including perhaps even changing the gender of a man to become a woman. If not, the framers of our 1992 Constitution, a process which the precursors of the current MPP boycotted, because it is on record that when my then uncle, the late Chana Pio Ayatam, who was the chair of the Consultative Assembly, was chairing the processes to bring about the formulation and adoption of the current constitution, they boycotted it. I mean, we all have read the history. Some of us were old enough. I believe I was in sixth form at that time in London Secondary School, that they were too sophisticated, too lettered and knowledgeable to participate in the process that included elements from society like hairdressers, butchers, and what have you. And yet it is the same group of people who today want to tell us that they understand the word and letter and spirit behind the content that today governs us as a constitution. And you see, sometimes, because of their bloated egos, they even overlook the simplicity of the language used in this constitution. Let's look at the tenure of office of members of parliament. The now almighty Article 97, and we are talking about G and H. Just to make a point before I continue. G says that, okay, let's look at 1. A member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament. And G says, if he leaves the party of which he was, past tense, and words have meaning, language matters. He was a member at the time of his election to parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in parliament as an independent member. Past tense. So the argument naively made or intentionally being propagated that the framers had an ensuing parliament in mind simply does not make sense. If the framers had an ensuing parliament and not the current parliament, they would have said so, and they wouldn't have used past tense. They wouldn't have used was a member. Just think about it for a minute. We are not even dealing about the Queen's language, which they claim they understand better than a Bulta man from Doninga who went to no-name schools. But anyone who understands English would tell you that once was is used, and within the context of this provision, you cannot say by any stretch of the imagination that they were making references to a future parliament. Then we go to H. It says, if he was elected a member of parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party, again, if he was, in the case of the independent candidate who has now joined the MPP, because he is now the MPP's recognized parliamentary candidate for Famina, as confirmed by the statement of poll, he has surely breached this provision. In the case of the other 3 MPs, 2 MPP MPs and 1 NDC MP, they also breach the provisions of G. This does not require any interpretation by any court. It is a straightforward matter. And so, this attempt to try and compel the institution of parliament to do what is unlawful is primarily the reason why we are here. But Sana, just look at the circumstances surrounding this much ado about nothing, which is only being foisted on Ghanaians because a party which never achieved a majority and was only granted parliamentary approval to constitute what the Speaker announced as the majority side, so that government business can go on, is now trying to hold the very institution that magnanimously, because Parliament could have refused, the Speaker could have refused to allow for the independent candidate to do business with them. But they have become so ungrateful, as they have been, to hold Parliament hostage and to subject the Speaker to all manner of unjustified attacks, verbal abuse, and even threats. Look, I can tell you that but for the Honorable Alban Sumana Bagwin being the Speaker of this 8th Parliament, the 8th Parliament would not have survived till date. If you listen to the Speaker very carefully, when he addressed the nation before we were recalled, or we reported for the recall, he made a number of very profound statements, and those of us who are members of Parliament on the MPP side and both NDC side, we know this to be true. There are instances where the Speaker, by virtue of the political stock within which he comes from, has just looked at us sternly and has been very close to him without making a pronouncement. And that has caused us to back down on a number of protestations that we were going to mount. So the MPP, Akufo-Addo and Bawumia and Afenyo Markins, they should be grateful to Alban Sumana Bagwin. And I agree with Solomon. Yes, we must bear some of the blame. We must bear some of the blame. We allowed them to get away with so much. So they become so swollen-headed that they think on any issue they can get away with it. Sarah, what is this issue about? Who caused it? If we are to be honest and sincere, Akufo-Addo and Bawumia and the MPP ought to blame themselves for what has happened. You decided to maltreat your members of Parliament. They became disgruntled. They became disillusioned. They felt neglected. They felt abandoned. They felt they were not given a fair chance in the primaries that your party conducted, and decided to go independent. How is that the problem of Dr. Park, Dr. Kesla Tuforsen, or for that matter, Speaker Alban Sumana Bagwin? It is not our doing. It is your doing. And rather than blame yourselves for exposing the opportunity for us to seek a response from the Speaker with regards to what had occurred vis-a-vis our standing orders and the content of Article 97(1) GNH, you are blaming everybody and you see nothing wrong with the fact that you caused the situation. But for that, we would have finished this 8th Parliament with a majority group and a minority group. But you see, I find it also ironic that the very same person who suffered this fate that we say, as per the content of the Constitution, must be applied to these 3 plus him, is now being appropriated by the MPP, which expelled him. I mean, what type of hypocrisy is this? And then, what even makes me chuckle, as in to laugh out loud, is when they say their 3 MPs, if we are to go by their own logic, how do you take ownership of an independent member of parliament whom you expelled and who went on to propagate and prosecute his campaign as an independent and won? How do you take possession of him? So in all honesty, their attempt to try and protect members of their caucus should not even include the former second deputy speaker, Isiama, because the Isiama is not even currently in parliament in the name of the MPP, and you are trying to take ownership of him. Look, I am so disappointed in the former Speaker of Parliament, because if you read his ruling, which is captured in the Hansard, he was so eloquent, very clear and direct. And with your permission, I will just read a portion of his ruling. I won't read all of it. In the second column of the said Hansard, column 99, the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph, a 3rd paragraph, it says, having forfeited his membership of the party, on which ticket he was elected to parliament, the operative language of the constitution is that he shall, which is mandatory, vacate his seat in parliament. Then he then goes on to say, going by a purposive interpretation of the present law, constructive action on the part of the MP is important. With all intents and purposes, he is no longer a member of the party. He has pronounced himself publicly as an independent candidate and has filed papers to compete against the party and its official candidate as an independent candidate on December 7th, 2020. He continues, on that occasion, this current parliament will still be sitting and operating as an official parliament of the Republic of Ghana. We shall not have a situation adopted freely by a sitting MP where he or she would be campaigning openly against the party that he or she still represents in parliament, and yet ridiculously stands against the party. No purposive interpretation of law would allow such ridicule to prevail. He goes on. Furthermore, after 7th December 2020, when Parliament is still in session till 7th January 2021, how does an MP operate both as an elected independent MP and at the same time an MPP MP if he should win the election? This lacuna of a ridiculous situation is not what is anticipated under the 1992 Constitution. He concludes, in the circumstances, it is determined that the conduct of the Honorable Andrew Amoakwe Siama amounts to vacating his seat in Parliament. Accordingly, we bring this to the notice of the Electoral Commission for the necessary action to be taken in accordance with the law. Very clear. So, what has changed? The Honorable Alban Sumana Bagwin merely responded to a statement that was made as allowed by our standing orders, that when there is a matter of immense national importance, a member of parliament, with the leave of the speaker, can make that statement, and based on that statement, a response can be given. Yes, it was the Honorable Harun Idrisu who first publicly gave an indication that by virtue of what had occurred, that two sitting members of the MPP had chosen to go independent. An independent member of parliament had chosen to file as a candidate for the NPP, and that a sitting member of parliament for the NDC had also chosen to go independent. He will file a petition on the basis of Article 97H. And indeed, he did. The petition was duly received by the Speaker. But that did not prevent the majority leader from also making a statement on the same matter. And yes, he also did on the 15th of October. It generated a lot of debate and discourse. The Speaker then told us that given the magnitude of the issue at hand, he needed time to consult and to study and then give us a response. On the 17th of October, Parliament reconvened and the Speaker gave his response by telling us what the Constitution and the bylaw says and the standing orders say, and made references to the earlier ruling on a similar matter by his predecessor. And it was obvious that by virtue of that response being made on the floor of Parliament, and you see, the framers of the Constitution did not anticipate that it ought to have taken a party that the said corporates belong to, or they themselves, to activate or bring to the attention of Parliament that by their conduct as materially evidenced in the issuance and publication of the statement of poll, that they had become, on the one hand, independent candidates, and on the other hand, had joined the party, in the case of Isiama. So when the MPP makes the argument that, oh, in the case of Isiama, they wrote and brought that to the attention of the Speaker. Why in the Constitution does it say that there ought to be a trigger, and that trigger ought to be specifically coming from a political party? The framers of the Constitution would have put that in there, and they did not. But be as it may, all this while, the now minority leader, Afenyo Makin, had rushed to the Supreme Court to file proceedings in anticipation of an occurrence that had not even taken place. And you see, this is where Ghanaians, fair-minded Ghanaians, are baffled by the conduct of the apex court of this country. How do you even entertain a motion on a matter that had not occurred? Just for the sake of the argument. Imagine Haruna had not filed his petition. Imagine Atu had not made a statement. Wouldn't the court have looked ridiculous? And that not raise questions about the malleable nature of the court when it comes to certain elements in society? I tell you the truth, if you and I had gone to the same court, or even go to that court today on a similar matter, they would dismiss our application with alacrity because an event had not occurred. And they would have asked you, on what basis are you coming to us? Because nothing has happened. Nothing had happened, and yet they admitted that motion. And then look at the other side of the coin. Immediately after Babin pronounced his response, and it was clear that the MPP had indeed now become the minority caucus, in less than 12 hours, in less than a day, 24 hours. On October 18th, by 10 a.m., the same Supreme Court had been able to constitute a panel to hear an ex parte motion application and then grant it by 10 a.m. the next morning. You tell me I am wrong. Tell John Mahama and the rest of the country that has pointed fingers at the Supreme Court for its inconsistency. I am not old enough, but I believe we have others who are older than me. I am but 54 years. But in this time that I have existed on this earth, and I've followed Ghanaian politics, and I've followed important cases by the Supreme Court, this is the first time I have become aware of such speed. Did the justices sleep in the court? How did they know that this was going to happen? For them to have been ready and available to consider the ex parte motion and to grant it in less than 24 hours. When the same court has failed to hear cases, including the case that was brought against the e-levy by the Honorable Okujato Ablakwa, the Honorable Mama Yarga, and the Honorable Harun Idrisu, till today, the same court that could not make a pronouncement on the case brought against the president and the executive in relation to the Domolovo case. They only pronounced after Domolovo had gone on retirement. So there is no constitutional crisis. And it was their right, the right of the minority, to petition the speaker to recall Parliament. And he did. But then they refused to show up. You, the same group of people who petitioned the speaker under the pretext of needing Parliament to reconvene to undertake what they describe as agent government business. You refused to participate in the proceedings of the business committee because the business committee never met. Our leader is on record, Atuforsen, who is the vice chair or the deputy or the ranking member of the business committee. He made calls. Nobody picked. He got in touch with the clerk. The clerk had indicated that he was outside of the jurisdiction and that the information is that he was told the meeting that we were to have did not require a business statement because the petitioners had communicated the business for the day to the House, knowing fully well, Afena Markin and his side, knowing fully well that procedure and process in Parliament is very important. You cannot have a business statement, which is then the basis for the generation of the order paper, without the business committee sitting to deliberate and to decide the arrangement of the business of the day, which is then captured on the paper. So there was no business. And that is why when we convened, and rightly so, we went and sat at our rightful place, which is on the right-hand side of the speaker. Because as far as we know, we numerically constitute the majority in Parliament. So we sat at our rightful place. And because they boycotted and refused to come, starting with not even participating or making themselves available for the business committee to sit, the Speaker announced to us and to Ghanaians that although we have quorum to make deliberations, we did not have the numbers to make decisions. But more importantly, there was no business. So how is this a constitutional crisis? Look, the Ghanaian people ought to punish this over-pampered and self-aggrandizing MPP. They truly believe that they own us and the rest of us. What they say or want should be the law, should be the process. How do you do all of this? How do we consider all of these facts and not come to the conclusion that this is a group that has outlived its usefulness as far as their services to the people of Ghana are concerned, causing us to waste taxpayers' resources that can buy furniture to supply to the over 2.3 million peoples who have to sit on the bare floor in our public basic school system. Money that can pay suppliers so that they can supply food to our wards in secondary school who are reporting, and yet provision has not been adequately made for their feeding. Our wards in basic school whose chalk desk, who are not able to participate in PE and sporting activities because government owes capitation grants arrears in excess of 7 terms. Our younger brothers and sisters in the University of Ghana and other tertiary institutions who are disabled and yet are crying and have even reported and indicated their intention to go on a public demonstration because they are not getting their remittances from the scholarship secretariat. And yet you have called us on 2 occasions. 2 occasions you've called the good people of Ghana to waste 2 million Ghana cedis based on something that shouldn't even be an issue, if not for insincerity, if not for hypocrisy, if not for duplicity, and if not for this attitude of superiority complex. We can get away with what we want. Ghanaians have an opportunity to rid ourselves of this canker. There is no constitutional crisis. The MPP is simply refusing to obey and do what everyone knows is the right thing to do by law, by convention, and by deed.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Clement Kabak is a member of Parliament for Bulsa South. Of course, if you're just joining us, the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, we're discussing the Speaker's definite comment. There's no constitutional crisis in Ghana. A few comments before we move on, before I come to Mr. Sabo. There's, okay, this one is from Mr. Sabadogo in Tema, who says, the MPP is arguing that in the case of Fomina, no longer being their member, they wrote to the Speaker. But in the ruling of Michael Kwe, he never mentioned MPP wrote to him before taking the decision he took. He sent that from Tema. This is Asanko in Santa Maria, who says MPs fiercely claiming to be the majority in Parliament. Was it not through the wisdom of the same Speaker that there was consensus building, that they were given that position? So why are they crying now that the position has changed? I don't agree with those who think there's a constitutional crisis. In my candid opinion, there's rather a leadership crisis, abuse of power. What at all is in Article 97 GNH that needs interpretation. Wonders shall never end. He sent that from Santa Maria, and thank you very much for sending that comment. This one says, hello, Sana. Going by the MPP's position on the matter at hand, are they saying they intentionally forced Honorable Michael Kwe to wrongfully rule on that matter in their favor, and they dishonestly accepted it? Abdulaziz in Accra sent that comment. There's this one from the Shanti region. I think Suleiman Ilyasu in Shanti region says, I hope MPP government is leaving power with pains. They shouldn't blame anyone but Baumia. Mahama is willing to rescue our motherland, Ghana. Sami in Accra says, I see Dinketia must. Okay, thank you very much for that comment. And then there's more. It says, good morning to you and your panelists. This Adam Kola from Tamale Central. Speaker accuses Supreme Court in Nanado. We Ghanaians on the back of. We Ghanaians are behind the speaker. We are going to guide and protect the Constitution of Ghana. We will not allow notorious people to come and destroy Ghana. Thank you for sending that comment. There's this one which says, Senna, please ask Solomon what was his view then. That's Brother P. Thank you very much. That was what was your view at the time when the former MP was thrown out?
That was the party's position. I agreed. And it's there. It's
everywhere. Kojo Inteshi says, good morning to you, Sana and Yobo panelists. Please, for information, the main border between Ghana and other entry points to Togo and Aflao is closed by the Ghanaian authorities, but the Togo side of the border is not closed. Ghanaian soldiers were dispatched to all points of entry. From a reliable source, the main reason to close the border is because of the December 7 elections. Please, don't you think that's too early to do that? That's coming from you. There's Joshua Joshua Addison, School of Graduate Studies, Catholic University of Ghana, says it must be emphasized without hesitation that there is no constitutional crisis in Ghana. All the three arms of government are in motion. We shall not condone the fear-mongering being inflamed by the Supreme Court. MPP will be hugely annihilated on December 7th. Joshua, thank you for that comment. More from you who are joining us via our WhatsApp and text message platform. This one is from Kucho. Thank you. It says, please, we must know what is UP now MPP. They never like the truth and they don't want the truth. I support Mr. Speaker. There's no constitutional crisis. It is only when the truth comes out that it turns to crisis for those who are not righteous. Thank you very much for that comment. Please take your time and write the comment so that it's easier for me to, when you're sending the message, take your time and write it. It becomes easier for me to read it. There's also this one, without the name. Article 391 of the MPP Constitution is very clear and obviously answers the position of the three of their members in respect of the vacant seats brouhaha. The same provision was applied to Andrew Sesiama in 2020. So what has changed? To the best of my knowledge, we have a hung parliament. The fact that Andrew Sesiama said he was going to do business with the MPP party does not make him a member of the MPP and does not increase their number from 137 to 138 because he's still an independent member. Thank you for sending that comment. Maswell also sends this, says, Solo had made my day by explaining that portion of the Constitution. Thanks. Maswell, thank you very much. This one, good morning. Listening to Solomon Owusu, Alan's boy. I wonder why NDC doesn't tell them the truth that Alan was a cabinet member for 7 years, so he's part of Akufo-Addo's MPP, so shares the blame equally. Thank you for that comment. And then let me conclude with this one. Progress. Please. Like I said, take your time and write a message, else I'll abandon it because I can't really, I don't know what you're trying to communicate. Mr. Sobo. Sabo.
It's Sabo Adam.
Sabo. Adam Sabo.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity given me. Let him take this opportunity to say a very warm good morning to my elder brother, Dr. Park, and then my brother, Solomon also. I also extend my greetings to the viewers out there. And I will also want to establish the Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh to my Muslim brothers. And to my Christian brothers and sisters, I say praise the Lord. Well, I have listened to the submissions made by Solomon Owusu and my brother, Dr. Park. But I'm rather surprised that at this moment and stage, I mean, they are still going in that particular directions. And especially trying to know our constitution more than ourselves. And I'm not surprised too, if they are going that way, because they are even saying that the judiciary do not have the locus to interpret the constitution any longer. They are the interpreters of the constitution. And you again tell me that there's no constitutional crisis in this country. when the lawmaker now becomes the interpreter of the Constitution, when the judiciary is there? It's not a crisis. Hasn't everybody's role been defined in this country as to how we should govern this country? So when it comes to the interpretation of the law, it is whose duty to do that? Is it the legislature? You see, sometimes we should look ourselves in the face and tell ourselves the truth. Let me just do some rebuttals before I come to the issue itself. My brother Solomon started his submission by saying that MPP gave some people money in the north to hoot at Alan. You see, my brother, though we are going for an election, yes, everybody will want to canvass votes for himself and the rest, but canvass for clean votes. Let there be sanity. I mean, let there be. I mean, don't try to crush the heads of the people. I mean, where? I mean, you just say something in Vic. I am from the north. And you think the people of the north are that stupid that anybody can just walk to them and give them money and say, go and do this? Please, don't try to insult our intelligence. Why didn't you cite any region, any other region but than the north?
But it's in the north.
No. Please
No, but hasn't he gone in all other regions? So it is only the north that they can do to people like that. Well, sometimes you try to degrade us anytime. In fact, we are having this kind of public discourse and the rest. I was so peeved, but I had to control myself. Not just because I'm MP, but I'm a northerner. That you couldn't find any other common place that the people can easily be deceived or can be coerced to do something against their own will or wish by the northerners. There are those that can be used for that. Is that how Alan now look at us as northerners? Please, then tell him that he has not found a place to do that yet. Quite apart from that, you cannot even substantiate the allegation that you have made. You should have gone ahead to mention names. You should have gone ahead to mention the place and other things. I mean, to make it factual. Why can't I equally say anything like that and go free here? Why will it make me somebody? But please. We are doing politics, and we should know that in politics there is fear of God. Sometimes we take politics like, after politics, the God has closed his eyes to it, so you can do whatever you want. Just like the way you conduct yourself in church, it's the same way you must conduct yourself on the platform. It is so within the arena of God. And everything that we do, God is watching. If you think the human beings, that you can have them free, but God is watching you. There will be a day for accountability. Quite apart from that, I think Mark Okwe, he came to show remorsefulness of his action then. I'm a Muslim. Allah has told us in the Quran that we should ask for forgiveness. He's all forgiven. My name is Abdurrahman, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. We have it in the Islamic distance. That don't think that because you have sinned, you can never get close or you can never make a comeback. He has come, of course. What do I say? His regime, as a Speaker of Parliament, will continue to be there, and the records will be there. And he has added onto the record that he erred as a Speaker. He has added onto the record. He has come out to apologize and have added. Quite apart from that, let me tell you when you go to NPP's Constitution, Article 3, if you go to Section H, Article 3, if you want to open and then check, it clearly states, let's go to Article 3, that's membership. But you were H, go to Section 8. H. Yes, H. Just go there. Go there and check. You see? And that one, it is very clear how it says. Any member who decides to declare for another political party or join another political party, underline the word political party, automatically ceases to be a member of the party. Let's put that one aside. And then you come to what we call the Article 3 again, go to Section F2. The same, because in fact, the Article 3 is about membership, how to identify, and you also know the category of membership that you fall into as a member. If you go to that one too, it will also tell you clearly, how things should be done. even if somebody commits a crime, and that crime warrants the party to sack the person, you cannot just sit somewhere and then just say that we have sacked this person. You first have to formally communicate to the affected party.
Which provision is that?
Oh, my brother, I'm just mentioning it, and you are a member of this party. Well, and if you don't know this in there, then I'm very surprised. I mean, when I sit somewhere, even without my party's constitution, I have not come with the party constitution here.
I have the party's constitution.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, read it. Read it. If I'm lying, read it. Please. No, let him read it. In fact, I want him to read it. Say H. Read.
For clarity.
Yes, exactly. Article 3H.
So forfeiture of membership.
Yes, Article 3H.
That's what I'm reading for you.
Yes.
A member of the party who stands as an independent candidate against the officially elected member of the party.
Which one I read?
Or who
please. Don't say
what you said.
No. I said 3H.
3H.
There is nothing like
3H. Let my brother.
That's I'm very surprised. There is nothing like 3H.
Let him come.
This constitution is not like 3H.
Please, can you read your 3H?
Yes, let him come.
Read your 3H.
Stop doing this. Listen, that in fact.
You are nobody. Don't bring yourself. Don't come and use the tactics to go away. Don't get away with this.
Stop this, my friend. You cannot shout more than
you cannot shout more than everybody. Today you don't have to come more than this.
You open your mouth and say all sorts of
nonsense. You open your mouth and lie. You have to lie.
Please. What God gave is that? Or this thing that I didn't have the heart, or I was not listening to
you. Let's go.
You are lying that they are catching you, you are still making noise. You are lying, they are catching you, you are still making noise.
You want to come and lie? Stop the lies. You are lying.
No, get out of there.
You get out of there.
My friend, stop what you are doing. You are just
The two of them.
I have made a statement. Please wanted to depart what I say. Please. Please.
Someone, please.
I'm reading it here. I'm reading it. You have to vet what it is. If you want, I can give it to you. I'll give it to you.
No, Master.
And then check one at a time.
Please, it's a very simple matter. The two of you claim to have the MPP constitution.
Yes.
Read your version.
Let him read
his version.
So please
finish. This is not a choir.
In the first place, even besides that, I want him to tell me the kind of thing that is, because it's not part of our party's constitution.
Please read yours.
No, yes, I'm going to read it. No, yes, but I'm just saying that what he has, I know. I'm just trying to affirm my position here to let you know I'm not lying and I will never lie.
Please.
I have appeared on Pan-African TV.
Read.
For many years, I have never lied on this platform before. Please. Nobody has ever called me a liar here before.
So come and sit here and be lying and read yours.
Please read
this. Article 3H, for feature of membership. A member who joins or declares his or her adherence to another political party automatically forfeits his or her membership of the party. Full stop. There's nothing like independent or goes independent. There's nothing like that.
Automatically forfeit.
No. Please. I think I was very quiet, like I was not in this room when all of them were speaking. And this is what has been going on. And this is what normally I don't like. I don't think if you are going to be applying the program theory, then nobody will talk, please.
No, Sabo, nobody will
talk. No. When the two of them made us their submission, did I even clear my throat in this
issue about...
And I have read it. This is it. I have read it clearly.
Yes.
And what he was saying, it wasn't there. Was there anything like independent person?
So read yours.
Yes, and we'll give it to you for you to check. Just check.
Okay.
And then let him show the source of what he's reading.
Please.
No, it is my fault now. It is my fault. But he has started to interject. So I have every right to...
You asked him to read his version.
All this time that is going, I will have gone ahead. All this I will have made advancement.
Are you not the one?
Could it have even tell it down? No, yes. Yes.
So let him read his version and then we go.
And I'm saying that he should tell me the kind of party constitution that he uses. Because I read my version. Did you hear what he read inside my constitution? Yes, read it.
So Article 3.9, but there is nothing like H.
3.9 where?
391. A member of the party who stands as an independent candidate against the officially elected member of the party or who joins or declares his or her support for another political party or for an independent candidate when the party has sponsored the candidate in the general by-election automatically forfeits his or membership of the party. This is it. This is the party's constitution. There is nothing like H. This is the party's constitution.
If you want, look. After I finish my submission, I can walk to my car and bring the hard copy of the party.
The hard is so soft.
No problem. No problem.
Which will even just, make the whole thing very simple.
Kindly advance.
Stop lying here. Stop
Why
lying.
you say I'm lying?
You don't look like it. You don't look like it.
You go ahead and do your submission.
Kindly advance your submission.
Here. So stop it. Or I thought I'll come here empty-handed like that, and I have my party's constitution at heart, but at least to be sure, I have to read it again. In fact, what you read, if it was so, I will just keep. I will not even try to mention it again. I will just let it go silent. But because you lied, I want everybody to know you lied.
Please make progress.
All right. So that is it. So it is very clear. So you can see that the party did not err. Neither did the court err. And what I want to establish here is that the 4 affected members, none of them fall into this category. None of them have joined any political party. None of them have declared their stand or support for any political party. So where has the party erred? Quite apart from that, I've also shown you F. That at least before that is done, the party should have written, communicated to the affected members before they cease to be members of the party. Has the party written to them? And even if you want to juxtapose this with what Prof. Makokwe did, of which he himself has even admitted, even with that one, the party communicated to the affected member. So why do you try to blend the two and make it look like they are all the same? Just because it suits you. You see, at least we have pledged as Christians and Muslims to serve the people of this country. So somewhere when the going gets bad or something like that, we should take a humble pie and just say, I'm sorry. And I think that's what God loved most in his servants. And then move ahead. Then to try to let our hearts, mislead us and to think that all of us will one day say, we wish it never happened. So that is it. Just to set the record straight, that there's nothing like that. And then you also came out again, and you were saying that Kamala Harris came to this country and then won a sovereign country, won the president and the vice president. Even I don't know. Maybe you need to educate me. That when there's any policy and the rest, whether it's a joint signatory between the vice and the president signs before that thing becomes law. I have never come across any constitutional provisions that in this country, when a policy or whatever is going to be passed, it is the vice president and the presidents who all come together to sign before it is accepted by law. You are now telling me this. Maybe I need education, more education on that. And then Nana Adonko Akufo-Addo is on record to have said that it will never happen under his watch. This will never happen under his watch. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is on record that for him, not today, not tomorrow, forever as a Muslim, that one nobody should even think of it. He's not even a president yet, but he has declared his stand. Has John Dramani Mahama declared his stand? Has your leader declared his stand on the gay distance? Yes. So stop it. Stop that one. And come and say that Kalahari came here to warn them. Can she come and warn us here? This is a sovereign country. We are not an extension of the United States. And we are not one of the member states of the United States. We are a sovereign country. This is Ghana. Africa is Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah is Ghana. So stop that. Yes, and then I think when my elder brother also came on board, that's Dr. Pak, he also said something that is very strange to me, that there was a constitutional consultative body that MPP decided not to join simply because...
I said precursors.
Yes, okay.
At that time, MPP didn't exist.
Didn't?
It didn't exist.
Yes, and so, but you made it look as if it is MPP, because he said these people, they refuse.
Precursors. Your antecedents.
No, then maybe it's better you are now making it very clear, because I was sitting close to you, but you made it sounded that the MPP decided, because he said these people, and I'm one of those people. If you refer to these people as we speak, I'm one of those people. But maybe if you had said those people, maybe it could have been a different thing altogether. So yes, it is good that you have corrected, because the MPP is never, not on any record, have ever done this thing before. And quite apart from that, when it comes to this, I think it is even really the MPP who normally makes it broader. Because when we talk of actually coming to look at the Constitution and the rest, it affects every walk of life under the sun. So how can you say that some people should not be part of the body? That can never happen under MPP. When it comes to democracy, I think we are the people who really practice democracy very well in this country and have always tried to make sure that the democracy lives up to expectation. In fact, when it comes to our constitution, our electoral reforms and the rest, we have contributed not less than 86% of the reforms today that we have. Just to make sure that the Ghanaian gets the votes that he or she deserves. So thank you very much for making that correction. And then if a member switches party, it does not require interpretation from any lawyer. That one too, I find difficult. I'm not a lawyer. I've never been to the law school, and I find it difficult to understand certain things. That is why I have subjected myself to the interpretation of the Supreme Court. Whatever they say, finally, whether I agree with it or not, they are the masters in that field. I'll go by whatever they say. But if you say that there are certain actions that do not require interpretations, then I think this country will plump into chaos. We all know that this country's rules frowns on stealing, frowns on so many other things, but yet when people find themselves in those acts, we also refer them to the court for justice to prevail. Many people have been given names, and later on it turned out not to be so. There are many people languishing in cells today or prisons today, crimes that they have not committed and the rest, just because interpretations were not properly done and other things. So how can we just say that automatically if something just happened, we just take it like that? Well, in this country, when people were even working, especially with the fair people who could not even go far again, that people's genital parts were getting missing, and they were, in quote, Nigerians, and they were Igbos. So when you are a fair person, those days, and you are not careful, you go far where people don't know you, your life is in danger. Somebody will just come and get hold of you and start shouting that he touched me and my this infinite, before they realize they have killed an innocent person. It has happened in Accra here. Oh yes, it has happened in Accra here. Kenichi here. It has happened.
I think you misunderstood the point.
No, that's what you are saying. Because you are telling us that if an act that is not subject to interpretation, then it should be automatic.
It hasn't happened yet. And he rushed to the court. That is what I said.
Which one?
I'm
even coming to that. That one
before the speaker.
That one is a different issue.
Gave his response.
Yes. No. You don't. But when did Afenyamakins go to the court?
By the 17th, when the speaker came to make, he gave his response. Afenyamakins had already gone to court.
Oh no! How possible could
he did.
No.
He did. No. And that even created a banter.
No.
Afenyamakins was trying to tell the speaker
he was
that
in court.
He had gone to court on the matter.
That is factual. That's on record.
No, let me come.
He's never denied that. He was in court before the speaker.
Let me come. Let me understand the parliamentary proceedings. He's a leader in parliament, isn't it? And
yes.
And normally, they have some meetings before they come to the
pre-sitting meeting. Yes.
Is that not it? To the floor. Is that not it?
That's correct.
So even if he had gone to court ahead of that, then of course maybe he already had a win that this is what the speaker had decided to do. No, let me come. No, I'm just trying to get the whole thing right. Even if he had gone to court ahead of the speaker's pronouncement, that means that there will have been a meeting. I'm not a member, you are a member of parliament. That's why I'm asking this. That means that there will have been a meeting. And in that meeting, conclusions were already drawn that this is how it is supposed to go. And being a lawyer, maybe the timing and other things, he will also look at it. Maybe there's a need for him to go to court before it is too late. Quite apart from that, if you say that the court was too quick to act in this particular decision, this is not between Sabo and somebody, or Sabo versus the state. This is about the interests of the whole nation, all of us together.
You are mixing
all of us.
In all honesty, he's mixing two issues. There are two issues.
You can.
Please do. Go ahead.
You can take note and later talk about it. Let him, please.
I really apologize.
Oh no, that's okay. I'm not offended. I thought maybe you were just trying to add something to it. That's okay.
Please
that's
proceed.
Okay. So, I am of the view that this particular issue is of interest to the whole nation, because these are our representatives in Parliament, which includes all of us here. We are all members of what they call it. We are constituents of one of the 176 constituencies that we have here. And for that matter, if there's an issue in Parliament and it affects the whole nation, do you want the Supreme Court to treat it in a manner that things will have gone bad before they pass judgment and the rest? Of course, there are certain things they need to fast track it. In the case of the, what they call the election petition, this thing, declaration was not made. Is that not it? They waited for the Supreme Court's ruling before declaration was made. But in this case, declaration was made ahead of the Supreme Court's listing. So definitely they need to act fast before things get out of hand. So I don't see anything. I rather see it to be something like being responsible and what they call it, party to the whole issue by actually acting very swiftly to make sure that things do not go bad and other things. So I don't see anything wrong with that. And whoever says that there's no constitutional crisis in this country, I don't think that is the case. When was the last time that we've ever had parliamentary crisis like this before? And especially this current parliament, from the beginning up to date. And you're also talking about the numbers in parliament. We were 37, there was an independent candidate. Is that not it? And the independent candidate tilted towards the ruling party. Does it not make it 38? So where did the speaker favor NPP by saying that he just gave them a majority reason? The numbers are, this is simple mathematics. 37, and there was an independent candidate who decided to go alongside with the NPP. Doesn't it make them a majority side? Will NDC easily give to an NPP like this? So at least we need to make everybody see the picture very clear. And then I think there was another issue here. Okay. Yes. About your last decision, although which is not part of the decision. I think when it comes to education, for me, the NDC should have been talking about it. I have been in the classroom for 18 years, and I've been very passionate about our educational system and then structures. In fact, there was a time, almost about 2 years, close to 3 years or 4 years, chalk was an issue in the classroom. Teaching aids was an issue in the classroom. Capitation grants were not being paid. Headmasters were servicing capitation grant with their monies and the rest. I was in the classroom and it was John Dramani Mahama who was the president by then in this country. Boarding house, in fact, some northern schools were delayed reopening and the rest because there was no food and what have you. All these things, in fact, even when I was in secondary school, my days, even Raleigh's time, Palms Card used to give us food in the north and the rest. There were too many times that the opening time will come but they'll postpone the opening date because no food. Or sometimes we close earlier than we're supposed to have actually ended the term because there's food shortage and other things. But ever since this government has come, he has doubled the capitation grant and other things and cleared the arrears when we came. Because we came to meet arrears and we cleared those arrears before we started paying. So even today, if there's an accumulation of arrears, but at least there's no shortage of chalks in the school. Teachers' trainees allowances are still being paid. The nurses' trainees allowances are still being paid. There was no COVID-19 during John Dramani Mahama's time when there was no chalk in school, when capitation grants were not being paid and other things. You can name them. All the negative things that have happened within this particular time has not affected governance in this country. In fact, there was no worker who was laid off because of COVID-19 crisis and other things. But doing so and this, companies folded up in this country. So many private companies folded. Others moved into Togo and Cote d'Ivoire and the rest because of doing so for 4 good years and other things. Has it happened this time around like that? And even if there are some few ones, let's take the statistics and see where it was affected most and other things. So when it comes to those things, because as I speak, those days, in fact, teachers' training allowances were not paid those days. So at least so many accumulations of these things should have been made there. Nurses' training allowances were not being paid, and even the students were also paying fees and the rest. Upon all, We could not get. In fact, teachers' arrears. I left GES and was not paid my arrears up to date. And if I'm a teacher and I'm speaking, I believe even teachers who are NDC can attest. It was not about MPP or NDC. It was about teachers. And teachers, it cuts across all the spheres of the political distance. So that one there, I don't think we should have even gone there at all. When it comes to the records there, and today as we speak, there are screen touch in the classrooms that are being used. There are tablets that are being distributed around to make sure that students at least have access to modern technology in learning and other things. There are STEM schools that are being built all over, and of course you attest to that. If I don't know whether you have ever visited any of the STEM schools. No. Personally, I beg you, do your best, and one day just go, or maybe go to your cameras to go and take and see at least one classroom and tell me the cost. If you just put it to our normal classrooms and see whether it will not take about 4, that one classroom will not even build those 4 classrooms or 3 classrooms of the normal ones and the rest. And it is a whole community, the STEM school, everything about education is there. Go and see the labs that are being built and what have you. Quite apart from that, on all these crises that you are talking about, Agenda 11111, no president has ever dreamt of it. Even when we mentioned it, they were saying that we are just making noise. We are just saying something that we cannot do, trying to throw dust into people's eyes. Today, about 58 of them are to be commissioned this month, and the rest. Completed everything. And the others are about 80, 90 near completions and other things. In all this too, in all these crises, we've been able to do all these things. At least I will not take you far, even in Accra here. Look at, the Pokwase Nsawam Road. Look at the Kasua Winneba Road. Look at the Adenta Dodoa Road. And now we have started the Tamamoto Way, the 10-lane, this thing. And all these things in the midst of this crisis that we are even now coming out. And of course, thank to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look at where we got to somewhere 2022, 2023, and today, if you look at the economic indicators, the macroeconomic indicators, indeed, I think Nana said it, that we don't know how to bring life, but at least how to rebound the economy back. That one, his government can assure Ghanaians. And of course, we are on path. If you look at all the macroeconomic indicators as we speak, of course, with even inflation from 54, today I think we are around 20. In fact, I don't want to lie, but we are in the 20s. Am I right? Yes, but I don't want to lie. So it means that at least we are profit.
We'll get to the matter of inflation.
Inflation, okay, thank you very much. So in all, I think with the issue in Parliament, it is something that deserves the attention of all of us, devoid of political coloration and then political stance. We should look at it as citizens. We should look at it as patriots of this country to see how best we can all, because it's going to say, we are all in a sailing boat. And if the boat is to sink, it will not take others out and then leave others. It is all of us that will sink. So when it comes to issues of this nature, I don't think we need to be, divided on partisan lines. We first need to see how best. In fact, to frank with you, before these things, I have been telling you, I have problem with some of my party members that, I respect this Speaker of Parliament. From the beginning, I thought he was going to be that partisan this thing. But for some time, he was conducting until this particular issue that he has gone. And to be frank with you, this is the first time that I am not happy with his decision in Parliament. But there are some other decisions that he has taken, even against our party, but I have seen it to be fair, something like that. But for this particular one there, I beg to differ. That one, it has made my thinking about him change in a way. And I'm now believing that, in fact, he's always in a meeting with the NDC before he comes to take his seat. And I don't think that is the best for this country.
No. I see. Anyway, thank you very much. Just that I'm a little confused on 2 grounds. First, Michael Kwe. This is what Michael Kwe says. And I quote, "It's wrong because the benefit is not his." That's Haruna. The law doesn't stand to his inurement. That's why I talk about the husband and wife. He has no locus because he doesn't belong to the party involved. Is it you who should say there's a problem in my house? You say I have a problem with my wife and I'm saying I have no problem with my wife. What are you talking about? So Michael Kwe's position was clear. that it should be the MPP who should raise the matter. He never apologized. That is his position. The second one, no, please.
You are saying that is Haruna.
No, I'm reading Michael Quay's position.
No,
that's Michael Quay's position. Because
you are saying Michael Quay was being explained by Haruna. Is that what it?
No. This is Michael Quay's position. Joy News. So I'm just reading the quote where he responds particularly to the matter. Why he disagrees with the speaker. His only point of disagreement is no. The Michael Quay. You said Michael Quay apologized, and I said he never apologized. His issue was that it should be the MPP who should have raised the matter. That's one. The second one.
But did he say that he was wrong? Did he say that, or he didn't say that?
No, he didn't say that. He never said he was wrong. He never said he was wrong.
Michael Quay never said that he was.
Yes.
He erred when he took that decision.
He never said. Please share with me. You can kindly share with me.
You don't worry.
Kindly share with me.
And
I also like if you can share with me the Constitution, because people are sending me the Constitution. What I'm saying is different.
Don't worry. If
so
I finish,
share with me.
In fact, once I can go and bring the hard copies, just in my car.
No problem.
If I didn't know that we'll get to this extent.
Yes,
The hard
no
copies in
problem.
my car.
No problem. Because
sometimes all this thing has to be settled.
Yeah.
Can we go on?
I have downloaded two constitutions, one from MPP USA, and what I'm reading is different from what you've read. Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, first of all, I'd like to state...
Yeah.
No, say what you have to say.
No, I wanted to give him that. Because
No, please.
I think yes, this is the MPP constitution.
Please go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say emphatically that as far as I'm concerned, there's no constitutional crisis in Ghana. Indeed, what there is a bunch of irresponsible and immature politicians hell-bent on getting their way at any cost. That is what we have. Now, why do I say this? If you take the 1992 Constitution, it's as clear as the difference between day and night. It's so very clear that even children in nursery school will have no difficulty understanding what the Constitution says and what the Constitution intended to achieve. So very clear. And you see, I think it's important for us to go to the text of the Constitution. And we are referring to Article 97, 1, G and H. And Senna, listen very carefully. It says, a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament. G, if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in Parliament as an independent member. Or H, if he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party. How can there be any misunderstanding about this? Under what circumstance can there be any misunderstanding about this? If it's not for the purpose of pursuing a mischievous agenda, who can generate a dispute about this? Indeed, if you go to the text of the Constitution, the Speaker is not even required to declare any seat vacant. The Speaker is not required to declare any seat vacant. The Constitution is clear that the member of Parliament himself or herself has to vacate automatically. Once you leave the ticket on which you came into Parliament, automatically you have to vacate your seat. Clear. What other interpretation can there be? no, I submit that there can be no other reasonable, sensible, logical interpretation of this provision. It is not possible to have a logical interpretation of this position other than the fact that if you change the ticket on which we were elected into Parliament, you yourself have to leave Parliament immediately. It's clear. Now, I've heard all kinds of arguments which are very, very, very strange. All kinds of arguments, you know, which are exceedingly strange. Now, one of those arguments is that the Constitution, if you interpret the Constitution, you can come to the conclusion that no people in a constituency should be disenfranchised. That at all times, people need to be represented in Parliament. But you see, that's a lie. It's a barefaced lie. There's nothing in this Constitution which upholds that position. Because this Constitution itself says that even if a member of Parliament dies, within a certain space of time before the elections, there will be no by-election. What does that mean? So that is clear that the Constitution itself knows and accepts that there could be some circumstances under which people in some constituencies would not be represented in Parliament. So that's clear. That's a bad argument to make. That argument doesn't make any sense at all because of what is in the very Constitution that we are trying to discuss. Now, this morning there has been a dispute here. And interestingly, the dispute has been between somebody who only recently left the NPP communications team and one who is still a member of the NPP, you know, communications team. My brother, here again, I am completely lost. The version of the NPP constitution read by Solomon Owusu and the version read by my brother here all say that if you contest for another political party, so you automatically, the word is automatically. What does that mean? How else can that mean something else? Automatically lose your membership of the party. So nobody has to write to you. You don't even have to write to the party. You automatically lose your membership of the party. Now, sometimes we talk as if there's no history. There's a history. A leading member of the New Patriotic Party, he did not contest as an independent candidate. He did not join another political party. All he did was to say that President Mills could be a good president. And I'm talking to one of the Samuel brothers. All he did was to make a public statement that he thought that Professor Mills was a good man. He was sacked from the party. You understand what I'm saying? And he was sacked on the party, presumably on the basis of the provisions of the MPP constitution. So how come we are making these arguments today? How come we are making these arguments today? Now, for me, the other thing which is important is that let's take the case of Cynthia Morrison. Cynthia Morrison went to Parliament as an MPP candidate. What does that mean? It means that the people who voted for her in her constituency did not just vote for Cynthia Morrison, but they voted for Cynthia Morrison as a person they believe would work in Parliament with the MPP in order to achieve the desired objectives of the MPP. Clear or false? too clear, so clear. So when she's no longer contesting on the ticket of the MPP, she cannot be said or be seen to be working for the realization of the objectives of the MPP as captured in their manifesto and other documents. Clear. So the basis of her representation in Parliament is destroyed by her going independent. Because now, what she's asking her constituents to vote for is for her as an individual to go to Parliament and push what she thinks in her mind, she thinks as an independent candidate will be good for the constituency and good for Ghana. She's no longer bound to represent the MPP. She's no longer bound to advocate for the policies of the MPP and to see that MPP policy is implemented through her parliamentary work. So these are two different mandates. Two different mandates. And that is why Article 97 is so clear on the fact that people like her ought to leave Parliament. Clear. So that's part of it, okay? Now, my brother, I find the latest development queer, absolutely queer. MPP members of Parliament signed a petition to the Speaker to reconvene Parliament. Parliament is reconvened and they are not there. I mean, who can explain this? They requested for the reconvening of Parliament. The Speaker acted on the basis of their petition, reconvened Parliament, and they didn't show up. Now, what is the excuse they are giving? The excuse they are giving is that, and I've heard them, NDC members of Parliament went to Parliament early and sat on the right-hand side of the Speaker. So what? So what? Now, listen to me very carefully. If these MPP members of Parliament, after compelling the Speaker to reconvene Parliament, had gone to Parliament and raised the issues and forced for a vote in Parliament, no matter where they were sitting, they could have done this. Whether they sat on the right-hand side of the Speaker or the left-hand side of the Speaker or in the middle, they could have raised these issues and called for a decision to be made by vote. They could have. Now, if they genuinely had the numbers, why would they run away? Because if they really were the majority and had the numbers in Parliament, regardless of where they sat, they could have voted and gotten decisions made. My suspicion is that they didn't have the numbers. And if you talk to members of Parliament, everybody knows that they don't have the numbers now. They don't have the numbers now because so many of their members appear aggrieved. And they cannot trust that they will be voting for them when it comes to voting. So that's very clear. If they really had the numbers, they would have gone to Parliament. Regardless of where they sat, they could have called for a division, even called for secret balloting and so on. They simply didn't have the numbers. That's number one. Now, number two. I am so deeply worried about the fact that our members of Parliament cannot do simple addition. They can't do simple addition. Addition and subtraction and multiplication is what is done at the primary school. So if you have people who have risen to become members of Parliament, who cannot, I mean, Solo was talking about mathematics. This is not mathematics. This is basic arithmetic. You have 137 seats. NDC has 137 seats. and you are fighting over who is majority. That is, even if the Speaker does not rule on Article 97. 137 and 137, and you claim to be the majority. How is that possible? Now, they make all kinds of arguments. I recall that when the Speaker of Parliament was called upon to make a declaration as to who is the majority in the House, the Speaker went to great lengths to explain that he was declaring the independent candidate plus the MPP members as a majority group and not the majority caucus. I hope you all recall. Yes. The Speaker went to great lengths to explain. Now, why did the Speaker go to great lengths to explain? It is the effect of Article 97, 1G and H. Because if the independent candidate had declared that he had joined the MPP in Parliament, automatically he would have had to lose his seat. You understand? So the Speaker thought that he was being more than clever by using group instead of party caucus. I vehemently disagreed with the Speaker at the time. You recall, I vehemently disagreed with the Speaker at the time and warned that this dancing around could have consequences in the future. Now, these are the consequences we are all facing. Now, there was an element of laziness on the part of Parliament. The rules of Parliament had always been crafted on the basis of the existence of a majority and a minority, standing orders and all of that. Now, when we got a hanging parliament, a hung parliament of 137, 137, what needed to be done was to change the rules. Because majority-minority no longer could work. And instead of changing the rules that govern business in Parliament and so on, we came up with this strange arrangement, which in essence, in its very essence, was a violation of Article 97, 1G and H. Clear violation. But everybody allowed it to pass, you understand? So we had the majority group and the minority group. Now, I've made many comments about what is developing, what is developing. And I've said that we are not as yet in the crisis which some people will describe as constitutional crisis and so on. We are not there yet. But these developments could take us to the crisis. They could take us to the crisis when clearly the powers of the Speaker of Parliament clashes with the powers of the Chief Justice. Clear. Now, you have to understand that the Supreme Court can't cite the Speaker for contempt. If you read the Constitution very clearly, the Supreme Court can cite the Speaker for contempt. There's nothing in the Constitution or in any rules of court and so on which prevents the Chief Justice from citing the Speaker for contempt. Now, the same Constitution makes it clear that the Speaker, in his view, if in his view, he thinks that anybody is obstructing the work of Parliament, can also cite that person, which may include the Chief Justice and Justice of the Supreme Court, for contempt of Parliament. So, can you imagine a situation in which Supreme Court cites Speaker for contempt, and Speaker cites the bench of the Supreme Court also for contempt? What would happen?
Very high possibility.
What would then happen?
That would then be a crisis.
who would implement the decisions of the Supreme Court and who would implement the decisions of Parliament. That would be when we would have arrived at the crisis point. But I insist that this crisis can be avoided if politicians with overbloated egos will stop doing everything and anything possible for them to have their way, irrespective of the circumstances in which we are. Now, Parliament is a place for debate, it's a place for negotiation, it's a place for consensus building, and it's a place for decision making. So if you have good leadership, there is no way any problem cannot be resolved. And I had the privilege of interviewing Justice Jose, who is a retired appeal court judge. And he makes this point very clearly, that it's the quality of leadership which has become the problem. And I recall him making the point that he actually misses chairman samples. This is Justice Jose, this is not me. So he, as a former Court of Appeal judge, is sitting back, looking at what is unfolding and saying that the personalities involved could be part of the problem. And who would disagree? I listened to the Speaker of Parliament, and he says, since these problems started unfolding, the only people who have called on him to have a conversation about how to resolve the possibility of a crisis and so on is a delegation of the Council of State and one or two pastors. So the MPP and its members of Parliament have not even attempted to create a forum, to participate in a forum to resolve these matters. And that's strange. That's completely strange, you know. Master, the other thing which just worries me, you know, is that if you look at the petition which forced the hand of the Speaker to recall Parliament, it is stated that there's urgent government business or businesses to be tackled. Urgent. One of the items on the list of priorities requiring the Speaker to reconvene Parliament is tax waivers. I'm confused. So far, I haven't heard or seen anybody, institution or group of persons, haven't done a cost-benefit analysis of these tax waivers. For us to continue to be granting these tax waivers, we have to be convinced that these tax waivers are in the national interest and that they contribute to our development. Do you have any evidence? Does anybody have any evidence that the millions of Ghana cedis we have been waiving as taxes has made any impact on the economy? There's no such evidence. So how that becomes an urgent, important matter requiring parliamentary attention and creating all this hula baloo and so on, I just wonder. Understand? I just wonder why. Then we are told also that there's a loan agreement which has to be ratified by Parliament. Loan agreement again, another loan, another loan, less than 1 month before government changes. Another loan for what? And why is that loan so crucial, so important, and so on, that we have to go through this hop, jump, and step, or step, hop, whatever. I just wonder. Look, and I intend to end here. Look, the Supreme Court ought to understand clearly that the 5 or 7 of them who sit there in the court, sit on that superior bench in the name of 32 million people of Ghana. Sana, if all the 32 million people of Ghana could be empaneled to hear cases of the interpretation of the Constitution, to try criminal cases and so on, we would not have a Supreme Court. The reason why we have a Supreme Court is that it is impossible for all the 32 million of us to be empaneled. So through some arrangement that we have agreed, we have selected a certain group of people based on a certain criteria to advocate in these matters, so they do so in our name, on our behalf. The Supreme Court exercises the sovereign will of the people of Ghana. You understand? It is not above the sovereign will of the people of Ghana. We need to understand that clearly, as a matter of principle. So that imposes a duty on the judiciary, the Supreme Court, the Courts of Appeal, and so on, that at all times when they are taking decisions, they ought to have at the back of their mind that that decision is being taken in the name of Kwesi Adakwa, who is a security guard in cantonments, who perhaps did not have the privilege of going to secondary school. That decision is being taken in his name and on his behalf. That decision is being taken in the name and on behalf of Abna Mansa from Drama, from Gomoa Drama, who didn't go to school at all. You understand? They have to understand that clearly. Because sometimes the impression is created that these are special people with special people coming from some strange place and so on, who are not one of us or some of us, who are above us in everything, and they act on their own. They don't. The very principles of the Constitution, the very principles of law and so on, is clear. They act on our behalf and not above us. Now, I think we can say the same about Parliament. All the MPs and officials of Parliament are there because all the 32 million people in Ghana cannot fit into Parliament House to make their decisions. So through some processes of elections and so on, we have decided that they, 275 people, should go there and do that on our behalf. They must be reminded at every stage that they are not above us, and that the power they exercise is the expression of the sovereign will of the people of Ghana. And same for the presidency. Because in these days, you are hearing a lot of questions about powers, separation of powers, and how this power is so unique that it may not be encroached by the other and so on. All those powers, executive, legislative, and judiciary, judicial, belong to the people of Ghana and not the individuals who are sitting there. It must be clear. Now, whatever happens, ultimately, no matter what the Supreme Court decides, no matter what everybody else decides, no matter what the Speaker wants to do and not do, and so on, no matter what the major political parties want to do or not do, ultimately, this matter will be resolved on the floor of Parliament. Ultimately, it will be resolved on the floor of Parliament. It cannot be resolved on the floor of Parliament in our circumstances if one of the two parties in Parliament decides to boycott. It is impossible. If NDC decides to boycott, Parliament will not have the numbers to take a decision. If MPP decides to boycott, Parliament will not have the numbers to take a decision. So it is imperative that Parliament is reconvened, and that both sides should go to Parliament. Who cares about where anybody sits? Who cares? What we want is results, which will move us forward. Where you sit doesn't matter whether you sit on the left or you sit on the right. How does that change the law? How does that approve? How does that approve, what do you call it? Tax waivers.
Which is one of the things they want to do.
Oh, but they have said that it is one of the things they want to do. Tax waivers and taking loan.
That's right. The naming of JB Dankwa, what?
Yeah, they brought some, for they are floating a number of bills.
Yeah, but and I'm talking about those that were in the,
yeah,
in the
they
petition.
Listed, yes.
They listed the petition. I think we should be fair to them.
Sure.
You know. So, Parliament must meet. Parliament can meet by following its procedures, by getting the business committee to meet and to agree on the business of Parliament. Parliament can only meet if there's a quorum. Those who have made up their minds that they would not make Parliament meet, they should know the consequences. They should know the consequences of their actions. And it is up to them. You understand? Anyway, let me end here.
Thank you. Thank you. I've heard so many things. But the main problem is who sits where. Now, as long as there's an insistence
Should
that
be a problem,
leave right and go left, the one will not come in.
I am part of the theater. I think we can describe what is going on as a theater performance.
Theatrics, yes.
And you see, who sits where shouldn't be an issue.
No, but it's an issue now.
Those who are making it an issue are the problem. The way Parliament works is that it is the Speaker who must communicate to us. It is based on what the Speaker communicates that we act. As of the last official communication that the Speaker made to us on this issue that we are still dragging, there was no indication to us that where we claim is our rightful new place to sit, based on what we know in the standing orders and in the Constitution, has changed. And you see, the Speaker cannot bring any new communication which indeed will constitute a decision if the House is not properly constituted. So if the minority, now minority, want to hear the Speaker make a communication, they ought to come and sit at the minority side. We will sit at the majority side. And based on the communication that the Speaker makes, if it means that what he had communicated earlier on, he has reversed it based on a so-called stay from another institution, we have said we have no problem. We will move, but first you must come in for the processes to unfold.
But Master, it's more simpler than this.
Very well.
Look, unless all NDC parliamentarians would arrive in Parliament at the same time, which is impossible, unless all NPP parliamentarians would arrive in the same time, what is likely to happen is that one person would arrive, the second person may be an NPP person, and so on. So, given the natural circumstances, it is possible for this right and left to be mixed up. Yes. If you all arrive.
Yes.
as individual MPs coming to Parliament on a regular basis and so on, when the door is opened, the first person to enter will go and sit on the majority side. The second person may not necessarily be an NDC person. The first person may be an NDC. The second person may not necessarily be an NDC person. He sits on the majority side. So you have MPP and NDC sitting on the majority side. That way, the whole house gets filled without regard to this left side and right side. Common sense, reality, and so on. Is that a problem? How would that be a problem? The problem is that some people decide even before the doors are opened that we are not entering. That is why it is possible for one side to occupy that right side. If we are all entering, why?
Yeah, like a trotro.
No, but that happened.
First come, first serve.
I think that happened in the first instance.
Yes.
Then Afeni came and called his side out of Parliament. That was when the speaker had to adjourn.
But you
the
see,
first one.
So what I'm saying is right.
Yeah,
but
it's
you see,
possible.
and he's right, because on that occasion,
Then we have to move on to the next
what Master Kwesi Pratt is saying was true. We were there on the right-hand side, and there were MPP members of Parliament sitting with us. They were there. Nobody threw a blow. Nobody pulled a seat until their leader came and walked them out. So that scenario clearly has been tested.
Okay. Sabo, briefly.
Yes, in the first place, what we are saying now could have only happened if the matter had not been to court. If the matter...
What are you talking about?
Yes, no, let me come. Yes, of course. If the matter had not been to court, because now Supreme Court has made their position very clear. Is that not it? That the decision taken by the Speaker should be put on hold. Is that not it? And for that matter, what it implies is that the nature of Parliament, the sitting arrangement of Parliament, the way it was before the decision made by Speaker should be returned to that particular distance. And now,
who returns it? Is it the Supreme Court?
no, let me. Oh, I am. Please. Of course, you say what suits you.
We have heard it.
Of course. So keep quiet when they were speaking. Were you speaking?
Please.
Listen. Learn from me. Learn the way I do.
Never learn from you.
Why you behaving like that? Why you behaving like a baby like that?
When we resisted with the
No, my brother, stop what you are doing. Why?
You didn't bring any.
You are just behaving like a leader.
Mr. Also, please.
No difference between you and
I'll come to you.
And no difference between you and Baumia.
Oh yes. In fact, I'm like Baumia.
Yeah,
please go. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, so keep quiet. Go ahead. Let me talk. So what I am saying is that we have taken the matter to court. Is that not it? Yes. And the Supreme Court have made their position clear. Okay. Are you telling us that we should get back to Parliament and disrespect what the Supreme Court has said? We are for the rule of law. Okay. And we know who has the supremacy of the interpretation of the law. Okay. Is that not it? And it is the Supreme Court has done exactly so. So it behoves on the Speaker to have preconditioned Parliament, like the way he said the leadership normally meet, for them to understand that we are going back to Parliament in this state. Then from there we can take it.
Through what medium?
Of course, through the parliamentary committees that they have and the rest. They have leadership and other things.
The Speaker cannot make a decision.
No, please.
Decisions are only made on the floor.
No. Yeah. What you are saying is your opinion. I'm also talking about opinion.
No, it's not an opinion. That's the standard procedure of Parliament.
So you mean to tell me that what Supreme Court did is wrong?
No.
So what I say?
No, what
Supreme Court did is wrong. So I try to tell me that MPP should get back to Parliament and then disobey what Supreme Court said. They should go and sit. Quite apart from that, with the parliamentary proceedings itself, the clerk, himself. How did he label Parliament? Even as at Monday when they were to return to Parliament, was it Tuesday? How was it labeled? During the what do you call it? Minority, I mean, what do you call it? Disobeyed the orders and then went and said, yeah, I will go listen to the speaker. Of course, I'm an interested party.
Were you there?
I'm a Ghanaian in the constituency.
He also said that
my constituency is also represented there. So I have an interest in it. I'm a political representative. So I have a very huge interest in it. Okay. And I am saying that, of course, we will never disobey the law. We will never abuse the law. Okay. We will never be caught. Of course, if that is what you feel to be to do. What I only agree with my big brother Kwesi Party is that, like, for instance, if what do you call it? And that one too, of course, it's a disaster for it's a recipe for disaster. If we also decide, we are also going very early to also go and sit there, and like you were saying, and then we all mingle. Mm-hmm. Even sometimes when we are at cross borders and the rest, you can see sometimes the exchanges that are, and now I'm sitting next to somebody that what I am saying he's also opposing it.
So you slap him?
No, not out. No. We are here. No.
Can you laugh for me? I need to move on to the next.
Don't underrate this particular. Of course,
I need to move on to the next topic.
You will never do that, but you cannot guarantee your brother. You cannot guarantee for him that whether he also not do that or no. I mean, no. What I mean is that like no. In Ghana here, we have seen so many surprise people that you never thought that they would do something. They do it. We've seen it severally. So anything could have happened. So it's better we have a very proper sitting arrangement before we commence parliamentary business.
Sana, let me make one point clear. Judicial decisions do not necessarily and always end conflicts.
Yeah. In fact, they always create conflict.
In fact, if judicial decisions always and necessarily ends conflicts, we wouldn't have the situation we have in Boku now. Yeah. So we must understand that too. Judicial decisions may be important, maybe they are important, and so on. But there's something else that needs to be done in order to eliminate conflict or minimize conflict. And this is a statement of fact.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That leaves him with half an hour to go. Yes. Yes. So the next discussion, which is on the elections, we're going into the elections, the matter of a peace pact, the comments will have to be very brief for me. I start with Dr. Clement Park on this one.
Sarah, most grateful again for giving me the chance to start on the second topic. As you said, we'll try to be snappy. Our party's position is very straightforward. The flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, and indeed the chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiru Nketia, have been very clear on this matter. And I think many Ghanaians agree with us. What is truly the value of signing a peace pact when it is not giving effect? And you see, we don't say that because we are violent or we think that there ought not to be peaceful elections. But we make this statement based on a precedent. We all witnessed the clear abuse of the rights of citizens during the 2020 election. Remember that a peace pact had been signed. Even before that, what occurred at Ayawasu West Wagon, leading to the president activating a constitutional provision for an inquiry to be undertaken. The white paper, or if you like, the report, which ought to have been implemented, has not been implemented. No one has been sanctioned. Some of those thugs who brazenly participated in maiming Ghanaian citizens are still walking about freely. Then we come to the 2020 December election. The number of people who were killed, cold-blooded, killed, murdered, publicly, with abundance of evidence, as we speak today. Nobody has been held accountable. In fact, one of my own constituents, that one of those young persons, Ayark, Mbuli is Ayark, is from my constituency, Bulsa South, from Bedema Kunkwak. He was shot and killed. Nobody has been punished. No action has been taken. So, what is the point of signing a peace pact when we know that those who are controlling state machinery and apparatus, an interested party in the upcoming election, have not given any indication of redeeming themselves, repenting from that crime that they committed against innocent Ghanaians, and for that matter, the Ghanaian state. And you expect us to wishfully think that by signing a peace pact, that is going to make a difference? So clearly, our position has not changed. The peace pact is not a panacea to a peaceful election. We have seen it. And so let all Ghanaians, well-meaning Ghanaians, be aware that we will do what we have to do, and Ghanaians must do what they have to do to protect themselves against tyranny, against intimidation, against lawlessness, against thuggery by persons who have squandered their time in office and would try to use whatever unlawful means to continue foisting themselves on the Ghanaians, to do so under the guise of a peace pact. So we will not be victims of a peace agreement. We have the right to defend ourselves. It's as simple as that. That is our position.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I come to you, Sabo, just two comments. This one is from Dennis Akwete, who says the responsible is to give effect to the said Supreme Court ruling, setting aside the Speaker's ruling, and at the same time asserting the authority of Parliament, or without hurting separation of powers, was for the MPP to go to Parliament and sit at the minority side, which came to being as a result of the Speaker's ruling, before the Speaker then invokes the processes to give effect to the Supreme Court ruling, for the sitting position to change back to the status quo, and that will be akin to entering judgment. Shalom. That's from Dennis Akwete. And this is lawyer David Ametepe, who says, good morning. Good morning to everybody. Says, listening to Senior Pratt on the meaning of Article 97(1) G and H, I can agree with him more. A lot has been said on this over the period. The meaning admits of no ambiguity or interpretation. Statutory interpretation isn't a metaphysical exercise, such as consultation of oracles or divination. Otherwise, soon we'll turn the courts into shrines or temples. Sabo.
Thank you. Let me first of all, what you call it, express my heartfelt condolences to the families of the deceased persons. I mean, which happened during the by-election and the 2020 election. It's sort of unfortunate that sometimes you are working very hard, trying to show your love for your country, only for you to end up in that particular manner. It's very sad, and I don't think any human being will rejoice in such happening or situation. And life is not guaranteed to everybody. At any point in time, it can be your turn, and only God knows how it will come. So we should always wish for ourselves the good that we want for ourselves. Having said that, it's also very sad that sometimes when it comes to this particular issue, especially politics, the upper class take undue advantage of the lower class. Because normally it's very rare. In fact, I'm here to even record one, that these incidents normally happen to the upper class. It is always not even the middle class, it is always the downtrodden. Those who hardly even find it difficult to have a square meal a day. Those who are actually working legitimately to put bread and butter on the table are the very ones that are pushed to the war front. And most often than not, these people normally don't go there with the intention to go and do anything wrong. But they are made to believe that what they are going to do there is the right thing. But the one who is sending them know very well that that's not the right thing. And I've always said, me, I'm into politics, but I do my politics like I'm in the mosque. Because whatever you do today, in fact, technology has come to tell us how God will catch all of us on the day of judgment. Surveillance camera is enough for you to know. And God is up there like a surveillance camera. There's nothing that you can do that to escape him. And you will account for every inch of a move that you made on this earth. So we should be very careful because they are our brothers and sisters, whether you like it or not. And most of them cry, you are far, you just heard the name. But when you dig, in fact, it's your blood relation even. But because sometimes we don't go that far, it's very, very unfortunate. And this one, I'm speaking to the whole parties. I have never subscribed and I have never endorsed the idea of pushing somebody to go and do something that is not lawful. Endangering the life of the person, endangering the lives of those who depends on him and his loved ones. It's rather sad that sometimes we go this way. But I think, I'm a Muslim. I will always go for peace. Even the religion that I practice means peace, Islam. And even the beginning of Islam, there's a treaty called Treaty of Hudaybiyah, when the Meccans were torturing, disturbing the Prophet and his people. At a point that when they realized that now the Prophet was overcoming them, they sought for this treaty, and Prophet Muhammad granted them. And up to date, Muslims have held on to this treaty. So for me, I believe in peace pacts, that no matter what, once it is about peace, sacrifice and make sure that peace prevails. That is the only way that we can survive as a group of people in this country. In fact, Ghana, where we have gotten to, it's not by accident. But the fact that we have valued this word peace, the fact that we have actually made sure that rule and law actually operates, and then the fact that we respect humanity, and regardless of our differences. My brother, me and him, the way we are shouting at each other, you yourself, you know, when we close right now, we shake hands and then continue to talk about life. And that's how life is supposed to be. Politics is not about war. We should be very careful, especially we those who down there, that we shouldn't allow the politicians to always use us this way. That regardless of your love for John Muhammad, regardless of your love for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, don't lose your senses. Hold up to your religion. Hold up to your values. And then make sure that, and also understand that you come from a community, and the whole community does not belong to where you belong to. So when you have to do certain things, think otherwise before you do it. I will never, and I will never pray, and I will never wish that at any point in time, any political party should rise up against another political party. May God not grant that political party that opportunity. It is the good for our country that we are all yearning for. In fact, most of us are into politics because we think we can also contribute our quota to push Ghana forward. So if some people would think that, no, the only way we can win power is to shed blood, it's sort of unfortunate. This shouldn't be happening. All of us have loved ones. All of us. In fact, some of us, our parents are still there. Some of us, our parents are dead and gone. But we have children, we have relations and other things. If you think that you have the resources, you can defend yourself. Think about your mother in the village. Think about that your uncle in the village. Think about that your niece in the school. And think again that indeed you can survive. But are you going to live on an island? You only survive because we have the support of each other. So I think we should talk to our leaders to adhere to this peace pact. But maybe what we need to seek is that, what are the elements, what are the ingredients that we are signing on to? And then the assurances should be given that all of us have these ingredients at heart. And whoever I mean, what do you call it, go against any of these things, then we shouldn't even wait till the untoward happens. Of course, there are certain acts that we say that you are heading towards that particular one. We shouldn't even wait till we get to that point. But if you just throw your hands into despair because it happened some time back and then you feel that, no, you are not treated right, two wrongs can never make right. You can still state your position, but still push for the right thing to be done because you are a victim of the wrong thing. And you still want the wrong thing to be repeated. Who will fall victim next? And what will the person also do? Then it become a chain effect. And where will the fees be found again? That is why in Islam, it is clearly stated that if somebody offends you and you know you cannot forgive the person in your heart, retaliate. But retaliate in equal measure. It shouldn't be more than what he did to you. And is it possible, my brother? If I slap you, can you slap me the same way that I slap you? The weight of my hand is not the same like yours. The rate at which. But the same ayah went ahead and said that, but to forgive is the best. So that you don't put yourself into trouble. Yes, it is very painful sometimes you go through certain things. But if you look up to God and follow the path of God, you become a winner. So I strongly believe that we can still talk together and then come together. And big brother, I'll plead with you to still talk to the flag bearer. He's a Northerner. We are Northerners. And for us, when it comes to accommodations, we do it better. We can still do better. And I think we should put Ghana first and leave MPP and DC behind. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. A few comments. This is Masolak Pabli from Ayawaso East on the very first discussion. The Ghanaians vote for the MPP to be majority in parliament, for them to be behaving as though the opposition majority is their birthright. They should stop behaving like some keys and get serious. When the speaker declared them majority, despite them not being majority, they were happy and see him as a good person. But today, they see him as a bad person because he declared them as minority, which they indeed are. They should spare us the cacophony because it's jarring to our ears. Maxwell, thank you. And this one is from folk Cornelius, who says, I don't agree on the peace pact. If this peace pact should work, all of us, the 32 million, should sign. Either than that, let's forget it. Mr. Osu.
Sana, this peace enterprise or peace is business. There is nothing, because peace is not a product that is sold in the open market. It is the reason why we have laws that regulate us as citizens of this country. We have the Criminal Offences Act of 1960, Act 29, that any offense that you commit, there are procedures or processes to deal with the person. We as a country has also given to ourselves Vigilantism and other related offences Act 999 that regulates our activities. So what else must push anybody to go and sign any document? From the Movement for Change perspective, we believe the laws of the land must work at any given time. And that my candidate, Mr. Lanchimante, will not waste time to go and sign anything. The laws are there. Why must you waste your time to go and sign anything to do what? In any case, when you visit any school and you see that they have written speak English, it means they don't speak English. Anywhere you see people pushing, go and sign peace, go and sign peace, they want to rig election, they want to steal. And so they are preparing your mind. The moment you sign and they go and steal, they say, but you yourself sign the peace accord. It doesn't work that way. We are in the country where the very peace council that is pushing for this peace pact, you know, they operate under the Ministry of Interior. They are being regulated by the government of the day. Electoral Commission, we have not settled the matter on the voter register. A mere summary of ballot statistics. You have given us a voters register around, you have given us some. My candidate, Alhaji and Alhaji, is calling for ballot statistics. The Electoral Commission looks straight into our faces and say, she is not obliged under the laws to give it to us. Hey, how can you give a voter register without giving us ballot statistics? What is preventing you from doing that? If it is not to aid the ruling party to rig this very election, for which reason you are using your proxies to push for a peace pact. Nobody is interested in that. There are enough laws to deal with any miscreant that tries to do something untoward in this coming election. So there is no need. Like Honorable said, we signed it in the past. In any case, so Alan comes to sign your peace pact. One of our supporters is being beaten or hunted in Sevilla Contomra. You want to tell me because Alan signed the peace pact here, he should remain unconcerned so that he is killed without revenging? And to my brother Sabu, this attempt of trying to behave as holier than thou will be resisted. You have come here, you are creating the impression as everything that you have said here is the truth. When indeed, even the very constitution that the MPP that you belong to is so clear. Within the constitution, you are even lying on this platform. And this attempt to be copying Ken Oforiatta's lifestyle, Ken Oforiatta's lifestyle will be resisted. Every least opportunity, you quote Quran or you quote Bible. We will not accept that.
You don't have an iota of shame, cry.
You claim you had a constitution, you gave it to me. It has no semblance of constitution. He didn't show any serious constitution. I showed you a serious constitution. I gave it to him to peruse. He really concurred with me that I was giving him constitution. That is why, for the benefit of the viewers, I wanted him to go and bring that constitution and show it to the people.
Can you proceed?
Sabo cannot.
When we conclude, I'll read.
No, I don't have a problem. Again, he sat on this show and lied about me.
In fact, you should have provided that opportunity.
He lied about me. When I am giving you information on the grounds that the New Patriotic Party went and shared monies to people in Mion and Gushegu, that they should be hooting at Talanchemati. You tried to be playing politics here. What are you talking to?
Mention those people. Mention.
May I should mention who?
Don't belittle the
what are we belittling who? Who is belittling who? You go and do that and you come and sit here and behave as though you are holier than you have no clue about being holy. You don't have to promote.
You are better than them.
You are better than them. How can they go and give money to people to go and hoot at? Why must they be hooting at?
And I'm telling you, who said that? Who said that?
I am telling you, you are saying
mention the name, mention and shame the person.
Yakubu. As you mention Alasan.
Yakubu Alasan. Look, are you mentioning anything? Yakubu Alasan, what does it mean?
Yakubu Alasan is the name of
Yakubu Alasan, what does it mean? Do you know the number of Yakubus that we have there?
You see, you don't have anybody.
Do you know the number of Alasans that we have there?
Nobody would entertain this emotional business here. Look, you come and play the victim's role.
You allow him to be saying all these things on this platform.
Because at the end,
when he says something, I think push him to the wall.
What are you want to be pushed to the wall? You have gotten and run a long time.
I was able to bring the constitution. I showed the
constitution. You want to bring some scribbles here. You as a director of communication for Get Accra. You come and sit on air and things that are not even in your constitution. You try and manufacture all the things we are saying to the general public to misinform them.
They are not factual.
Why must you do that to ourselves?
Come and sit here and be mentioning people, this and this and this.
So clearly,
now you've said that Yakubu, and finally, the number of people who are affected.
And finally,
as you have mentioned,
and finally,
Yakubu. So
I want to clear his doubt about the position on the president.
Be specific on your statement, because this is a one.
That indeed, is it not a fact that Kamala Harris came to this country? Is it not the fact that when Kamala Harris came here, she warned about the implications of pushing for that proper human values law, and that as we speak, that law or that bill has not been signed into law. So what is Sabo talking about? And I'm telling you that in the coming days, the president is going to sign. Because now they know that Kamala is no more going to be the president. How can we live in a country that we are sovereign? That our president and the vice president will be so coward. They are cowards. That simple things that affect us, that they are supposed to actualize them because of a lady, a certain woman, will come and warn them and they will not be able to do that. So he shouldn't go down tangent. I'll end by admonishing every Ghanaian to be peaceful in this election. Be peaceful but be vigilant. Be peaceful but be vigilant. If anybody wants to rig, if anybody wants to snatch ballot, the Vigilantism Act mandates you to arrest that person and make sure that the right thing is done. These people want to see the election, and that will never happen in this country. That will never happen.
Continue to bleed. Your boss
Which one I will be bleeding? Which one did I bleed?
Thank you very much.
Who is bleeding? Who is bleeding?
Please, Mr. Pratt.
I understand where you are coming from.
Which one is
allowed.
No agreement on paper, and it doesn't matter the quality of the paper, can secure peace for us. And our recent history bears that out. For almost all the elections, political party leaders have signed peace pacts. What happened? The last election, they signed a peace pact. We ended up with 8 people dead. 2 years ago, I went to see the victims of the Ayawasu West Wogon incident. My brother, it was so painful. People without limbs, people without arms, and so on. Peace pact did not give them peace. What will give our people peace in this election is that, one, the attempt to pack the Electoral Commission with party lawyers immediately. And party loyalists who are sitting on the Electoral Commission ought to vacate their positions immediately. It's important. Senna, are you listening?
Yes.
Party loyalists who are serving as members of the commission ought to vacate their positions immediately. The arming of vigilantes should not come. It won't bring us peace. If you go and sign peace agreements and you go and arm vigilantes as happened in Ayawasu West Wogon, we will not have peace. The only thing which will bring peace is to organize the elections in an orderly manner and to make sure that nobody is cheated in this election. You see, my friend Ben Epstein has been conducting polls over a long period of time. I stopped following his polls a couple of 1 or 2 elections ago, you understand? But if you check his figures, you find that we have had no election in this country, at least those that I've seen, where you can't even find one polling station where there's overvoting, where the number of people who actually vote exceeds the number of registered voters. That's a problem. So, to have peace, we need to sanitize the Electoral Commission, and we need to make sure that there's no cheating whatsoever. Again, the competence level of the commission needs to be raised. Because what happened the last time, when the commission brought more than 2-3 results, created a lot of problems. And that has to do with competence of the commission. As for signing peace pact, it's a useless enterprise. That peace industry, people are growing fat out of it for nothing. Throw it away. It has no impact, no relevance. But I like to remind my brother Sabo of something, because I've been listening to him very carefully. And at various points, he's made the point that Ghana is made up of Christians and Muslims and so on. It's not true. You see, in Ghana, we have those who say they are Baha'is. They are Ghanaians. They have the same rights, and they're entitled to have the same expectations. They are Jews in our country. They have the same rights as Muslims and Christians, and they're entitled to have some expectations. They are traditional religious believers. They also have rights. They are Ghanaians. They're entitled to the same expectations. They are atheists. Atheists. Atheists also have the same rights, same constitutional rights and so on. So this thing about Christians and Muslims and so on.
I'm making reference to majority. Is the Muslim.
In religion, majority doesn't matter. Go and read your constitution. In religion, majority doesn't matter. Religion is not about majority versus minority.
But if there should be chaos, the people will troop up on the street. Of course, the numbers will be Christians and Muslims. The numbers, it will be Christians and
What
Muslims.
makes you so sure?
Oh no, that's the statistics. That's the statistics that indicates. Of course, the current
Which statistics?
population census that was conducted.
Master, In our country, if you care to know, for many people who are Christians, they're also traditional worshippers at the same time. For many people who are Muslims, they are also traditional worshippers at the same time.
They are not. They are neither Christians or Muslims. Tell me.
But you have been visiting the shrine and everything.
You sit here, you say things irresponsibly. Let me tell you something. If you don't know anything about it,
visit the shrine.
You can do politics with, but Reggie, don't go there. What are you talking about? That kind of thing. Tell me where you are going. Show me. Where you are going. Where? He went and worshipped there. No, he went and worshipped there.
But what did you do there?
Don't do that. Me as a Muslim, I have ever this. I can visit that particular place.
But he went there to
in Namala Ahmad in Niyad. It is what is in your heart, not what we are doing.
So how would I know your heart? Whether you're
my friend, stop. You cannot see your heart. Sit down here and open your mouth. You say anything just like that. Be very careful. No, in fact, Allah should sack you from his party. You are actually. You have to be sacked from the MPP for lying here. No one will sack you from the party. No one, please. You are the people who are giving us overload in the party. I'm not seeing how light our party is. You are not seeing how. Yes, I can see now.
Thank you very much.
You are the problems of the party.
Just a few comments to go through from those who are listening to us. This one says, Senator, good morning. If the MPP obeys the rule of law, why are they behaving like? Okay, thank you very much for the comment. Okay, there's the other things. Martin Anderson says, I want to affirm what Solomon is saying. Baumia, okay, he is also making another allegations. Thank you very much.
These are true.
Yeah, this one says, good morning. Thank you for the good works you're doing. According to the Greater Accra Regional MPP communicator, he embraces peace and advising a pact to advise President John Mahama to embrace peace pact. I think it's reciprocal, and they should advise their flag bearer in the MPP hierarchies. Thank you. Thank you very much for that comment. This one's a Senator. This kind of peace pact is what has brought Lebanon into destruction. 3 of the groups, including mediator, for 18 years refused to observe what was agreed on. The same is what happened in the case of Ghana and her peace council. Thank you for the comment. As well as good morning, Senator. Okay, people are talking more about something else. There's this one says, good morning, Senator. I think the MPP man isn't up to date. We must desist from hypocritical lifestyle. Thank you. Emmanuel sent that from Tema. There's this one says MPP has nothing to offer we Ghanaians. They should stop lamenting. Some more. Mr. Solomon, also, we have said it all. God bless you. I'm Adams Mohammed from Rara in the Uti region. I said I was going to conclude with, first there's a comment I got from Garo that I need to go through. This is a comment from Evans Dinko, who says, Senator, good morning. Kindly ask Sabo what is useful about peace pact. If one party signs in 2020 election and was willfully breached and no consequences, is the constitution not supreme over peace pact? NDC will not sign a peace pact of that sort, but will uphold the 1992 constitution supreme to punish whoever violate the laws of Ghana when we take over power in January 7, 2025. That's coming from Evans Dinko in Garo. I said on the matter of the MPP constitution, I'm going to read a statement issued by the General Secretary of the party in relation to when Mr. Solomon Owusu, Nana Ohininto, Yabobian Samuel Hobson Adoye, and all others decided to follow Alan. Yes, in fact, this is the statement that was issued by the General Secretary of the MPP. Is headed for future of membership pursuant to the provision of Article 391 of the New Patriotic Party Constitution.
Then I said 3 what? 91. And someone will say H.
It says the leadership of the New Patriotic Party has taken notice of recent activities of Hobson Adoye, Yabobian Samuel, Nana Ohininto, and Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, which includes publicly endorsing the candidature of a person other than the duly elected presidential candidate of the party, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. In spite of their flagrant breach of the party's constitution, particularly Articles 35, A, 4, and 391, the 4 named men still hold themselves out as members of the MPP. For the avoidance of doubt, Article 35A, 4 of the MPP Constitution enjoins all members of the party to abide by and publicly uphold the decisions of the party. And they quote, says, in addition, Article 39I of the Constitution provides as follows: a member of the party who stands as an independent candidate against the officially elected member of the party, or who joins or declares his or her support for another political party or for an independent candidate when the party has sponsored a candidate in a general by-election or by-election, automatically forfeits his or her membership of the party. So that is the provision.
If you should give me just 1 minute. What you have read is clearly different from what I have stated. This one is with regards to a presidential, what do you call it, position. And of course, that one, let me come. Let me come.
Can I read?
Yes.
No, please, let me read.
Yes.
A member of the party who stands as an independent candidate, didn't mention presidential, against the officially elected member of the party, or who joins or declares his or her support for another political party, for an independent candidate, when the party has sponsored a candidate in a general or by-election, automatically forfeits his or her membership of the party.
That one, I think I stated very clearly that when you go to Article 3, Section F, we also tell that until the person is written to. Until the person is written to.
There is no.
In fact, Sabo,
But I showed it to you. No. You see, please, automatically forfeit. Yes.
Should I read it again?
No, let me come. Automatically forfeit. And the same Constitution in F says that until the person is written to. What? No, let me come.
Because
what it implies. Listen, let me come.
Yes.
What it implies is that.
It's good.
Listen, we have what do you call it? We have national executives, we have regional executives, we have constituency, and then we have what do you call it? The other listen, that's electoral area and then police station listen. So what the interpretation here I'm trying to seek is that somebody at the police station level might have done something, maybe contrary or maybe in view of what we've just mentioned. How they're getting me? Then the constituency executives will just rise up and say that that person is no more a member of the party. The party is trying to prevent that kind of thing. You should put it on record, write, and serve that party. No, let it go. Let me finish. But I read it earlier on.
Please read it again.
What is really is not in the Constitution.
No, read it again.
So it's what?
Inflation.
So it's what?
We are done. There's no time. So.
Yes. Well, you say so. Because, no, it's okay. You find yourself nonsense. I should take yours.
You give him 10 minutes, he will not have it. That's why I told
Joanna,
him. Let him go and bring the hard copy.
Just wait. When I gave it to him earlier on, didn't he go through it?
You saw anything in semblance of the Constitution?
Let me come. Don't worry.
There is no F.
Don't be running faster than
This is the matter of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We're waiting for Sabo to find the 3F. But in the meantime, I need to conclude the show. I would like to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Clement Park, who is Member of Parliament for Busa South. And a big thank you to Solomon Owusu, who... Okay.
Suspension of a member. A member may be suspended from membership of the party or holding any office in the party, pending an inquiry into his conduct by a disciplinary committee. Wait, please. You said I should read it, so I'm reading that any decision to suspend a member shall not be taken unless the nature of the complaint has been communicated to the member in writing, and disciplinary proceedings have been initiated against such member. No, let me come. No, let me come. No,
This has nothing to do
with the forfeiture aspect.
That is why I stated earlier on, in this country, stealing, the law frowns on stealing. So can you just take somebody to Sawam because he has stolen something, or you can kill somebody because he has stolen something?
So forfeiture of membership. Let me also read the forfeiture.
Can you do that? But the law is very explicit.
Thank you. A big thank you. A big thank you to Mr. Adam Sabo, who is Greater Accra Regional Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party, and of course, Solomon Owusu, member of the Movement for Change. And of course, it's always a pleasure to have Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr. on the platform. He's General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Of course, a bigger thank you goes to all of you who joined us through various platforms. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for sticking with us throughout the show. Let me say a happy birthday to Mrs. Philippine Fiadu. It's been many, many years. A happy birthday to you. And a happy birthday to Godwin Akogan, who is one of the Deputy Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress. We are back same time next week to another edition of the show. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a fruitful week.
Has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.